Hello and welcome back to the Game Bet Match podcast. It's been a while, Brad.
It's been a minute, yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's
We're
Manny was on vacation. There's been a lot of NHL, NBA. I don't know, too
well,
much
we're
too much
we're
going on.
truly back in the house because tennis is really into high gear right now. I mean, Rome is
Well, is it? I mean, we're kind of coming up on a bye. It's actually kind of weird because like with these 2 week Masters, like there isn't that much ATP level tennis.
mhm,
There's obviously like the one like kind of the cool thing about the 2 week Masters is that the challengers get bigger, right? Like the 175 challengers get a little more play,
right.
but I don't know. There's not as much like these second round. There's all the matches obviously they're good, but there's not as much like action. And then next week is Geneva and
Lyon. All right,
Lyon, whatever.
Lion.
It sounds
I,
better as Lion,
I don't
man.
think you have any French ancestors. I mean, I hope not, at least with that pronunciation. But all right, yeah, I mean that, and we have French Open qualifying, and then obviously the draw will be out Thursday, so we have a lot of content coming up. So
Yeah,
it's
content, just not. I mean, and obviously in a week and a half we'll have French Open matches, which will be exciting. So
right, right. So I apologize. I've been on vacation in Portugal. It was a great trip with the family. It's kind of a weird time for that to happen with our pod because it's like big Masters 1000. But I try to be active on Twitter, and I appreciate all the additional followers and the shout outs on Twitter. Tidbits Tennis, as always. We have a new super fan in James Edwards, right? Is that?
we do.
Yep. So we appreciate all the support from you. Kibat Monroe has been
Hey,
chatting.
dude, you gotta get it right, man. This is the third time it's come at me,
Okay.
bro.
Say it again.
It's come at me, bro. It's
Oh.
like it's like intentional. It's
All right, my apologies, but I appreciate your support. Just go by Brad's pronunciation. Just scrap mine, but we appreciate the chatter. Match point 9 as always. Your pods have been great as well, so we've been following yours. But appreciate always the back and forth on Twitter. Because we win, the Bet Rivers podcast is another one we're following pretty closely as well. You guys give great info on the Bet Rivers network, and we appreciate that you kind of go to the events and you kind of give us that perspective of it. So that's much appreciated. Anyone I left out?
I don't know. I mean, we've had a lot of new followers lately, so that's exciting. We've gotten quite a bit more chatter on the Twitter from some exciting people. So I think and various people have come and made a comment here and there. I've had some really good discussion. So anybody like that is great. I think we have Woj. Woj still wants to be a super fan. So if he's out
Yes.
there, we still love you too. But honestly, like if you guys like it, leave a comment on the pod. Leave a comment on the YouTube video. Leave a comment on the Twitter. Reply to the Twitter post. Retweet. Honestly, like anything you want to do to help, not even just help support, but even like ask questions, give us negative commentary. Negative feedback is great too. Anything is great to help us continue to grow and improve the podcast. So when we love the chatters. So anything you can do to anything you want to do to chatter with us in any way or interact in any way, feel free to go ahead and do that.
And
You don't have to, but feel free to.
we actually don't intend on making these pods like 3 hours, but like we're just super passionate, and it just ends up being 3 hours.
I think Manny's super passionate, and like I just can't like. Manny just will talk about everything for like 10 years.
You're pretty passionate too. I hope I've grown.
I am.
Yeah. So we don't really intend on making it 3 hours, but it just kind of ends up being like a long form pod and more discussion based. So we appreciate all the support. So thanks as always, guys. Much appreciated. So let's get into the tennis. So the last time we saw you guys was we did a pod to preview the fourth round matches in Madrid, I believe.
Correct.
So we're gonna start with some Madrid recap. let's talk about Jan Lennart
Let's start
Struff.
with the fourth round. I mean, one great match was Fokina and Coric.
Okay.
So that was really unfortunate, wet cord. I mean, but it's just Fokina chokes another match away, man.
I know.
Like another match he should win and he chokes it away. It's just it's tough with this guy.
I think my bet was Fokina over 12.5 in that match.
I had Fokina minus 12.5. Or not minus 12. Yes, I had Fokina minus 12.5. I was really expecting that to come through.
You would lose every time if you did that.
Yeah, I lose a lot of my minus 12.5 bets. I don't know why. I get like plus 10 million too. I'm so excited and they never come through. Yeah, it's I had minus 2.5, which was unfortunate. But this is my favorite bet of the week that I did hit. I live bet Coric to break Fokina in the 8th game of the 3rd set right after Fokina broke.
That was amazing.
And I got 4-1 on that. And like I feel like it's a guarantee if Fokina gets ahead of break. Honestly, when there's a break in a Fokina match, either way, like you should immediately live bet the rebreak.
It's crazy. It like we were watching also Rune versus Fokina the previous round.
Same thing happened.
The amount of times that happened was insane.
It was like 3 times. It's like anytime like Fokina gets ahead of break, he like thinks it's time to coast. And anytime he's down a break, he like decides it's now time to go into God mode.
Yeah,
and it's usually more from Fokina's end. Like he just like when he goes like up or down a break, he just like.
I mean, he's ultra talented. I mean, the fact like if he could get his mental game together and kind of be better tactically, I mean, he'd be a top 10 guy.
It's tactics and it's focus. It's both. That's the problem with him. He's like,
yeah.
But it's so aggravating because it's not willpower. Like he clearly wants to win out there.
Right.
It's just and he's pretty. We talked about this before. Like he's pretty disciplined. It's just bad tactics.
It's
like
bad
it feels like you compare it to like a Shapo who just goes completely off the rails and looks like he just doesn't care and is like more interested in his winner and his ace count than like winning the match.
Right.
Whereas like Fokina, it looks like he cares, but he just like forgets like how to play tennis.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, looking back at that match in terms of betting, I think I bet the over 12.5 and I bet the I think the Fokina money line, which was kind of painful to be honest. Because I don't really remember it, but wasn't he up a break in the 3rd set?
He was up 4-3. That's the live bet I hit. Fokina broke to up 4-3, and I live bet Coric to break back immediately. And I think he did it to like lover 15. It wasn't even close. Like
4-1. I mean, if you did that every time Fokina broke, you'd be a rich man.
I think so. Yeah, like I'm surprised. Yeah. I really didn't expect to see it be like a normal looking like a line. And he did it again against Pella in Rome in like the 2nd round. I bet him under 12.5, thinking, okay, like I get it, Fokina's gonna choke, but this is Pella. Like he should be able to like be fine. No, he gets up 5-3, serves for the match, has 3 match points, and blows it. And then comes back and wins a set 7-6 in a tiebreak. But like, it's just brutal. He's like the anti-ARV.
Well, so ARV, it's a way lower level of tennis, but like
that's why he's the anti-ARVs because he's way worse. Like ARV just like chokes, but he's also not that good of a tennis player. But he gets a lot of time, like against bad competition, he gets to over 12.5. Fokina's a great tennis player that also chokes and also gets to over 12.5 a lot.
Right.
Anyways, probably enough of that. That was a sad loss, but but I did love that. That was my favorite bet of the week.
That was a great bet. That was a fantastic bet.
Fritz, one of my most painful losses. This is like an all-timer. Mm-hmm. I had Fritz 2-0 versus Zhang and under 21. And he was up 6-4, 4-3, 40 love.
That was really bad. That was really bad.
Like,
and then the Zhang, the Fritz futures that we had, that just got killed there too.
That's right. We both had Fritz futures of like 8-1. We had really nice looking Fritz futures.
Brutal.
Yeah. We both had like Fokina futures of 25-1 to make the final. Those went kaput.
And he was in such an easy section because Rune lost. Right? Everyone lost in Madrid. Like
he beat Rune. Fokina beat the guy we were
Yeah,
saying that like he
know.
has to beat Rune in order to get through this section. Then it's possible if he beats Rune. He beat
And if
Rune.
had he beat Coric, he would have played Alcaraz in the semi. So that's tough.
No, he would have played who in the quarters? He would have played Hanfmann in the quarters? Altmaier in the quarters? Altmaier in the quarters, right?
Altmaier in the quarters, but if he got through Altmaier, then he would have played Alcaraz in the semis, and we needed.
Yeah, Alcaraz would have been tough, but yeah.
So Fritz was actually more painful in my opinion, just because of who he had in that bottom.
And because he had 4-3-40 bleeping love. Up a set in 4-3-40 bleeping love. Like he's got to be what, like 100-1 from that position?
Oh, it's got to be 1,000-1 or 10 plus. It's got to be.
Well, it wasn't 5-3. It was 4-3, right? Like 5-3, I would say, yeah, but he still had to hold one more game, even if he holds there. But like, yeah, the way better player.
Get match point in a third set breaker as well, and it's Zhang. It's not like you're playing.
Yeah,
Alcaraz. I mean, it's so bad. It was just such a painful match to watch. That was one of the all-time beats. I mean, that was terrible.
Yeah.
And that wiped out the futures. The fact that ADF and Fritz lost, I think, back-to-back matches on Aranxa Sanchez court. I mean, it was just terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but so yeah, I mean, those
are my takeaways from the fourth round that were worth talking about. Quarters, Struff Tsitsipas, like that was my biggest, like in terms of like dollars won, that was my
me too.
Technically my second best hit of the week, but it was actually my best, like in terms of like my best hit of the week we'll get to later. But my second best hit of the week was this plus 405 money line that I hit on Struff against Tsitsipas. I mean, Struff he's like this is a great tournament for him. I think this is probably the best tournament for his game.
I would agree with that. I think he's better on clay than hard, to be honest. And then the fact that you get the altitude helps his serve.
But I think like the altitude helps the serve, but he also gets the benefit of the clay slowing the ball down a little bit off the ground.
Right.
Because he's not the best mover. Like he's a big hitting guy. Like he doesn't, I don't know. It's
I would agree with you.
Yeah, like a quick hard court, you need to have a more all around game, and that doesn't really suit him. So yeah, I mean, that said, he got way outplayed by Tsitsipas in that match, statistically and really by any measure you would use. I mean, so the match point 9 guys brought this up, especially Tidbits. But I said the same thing in my match recap that I wrote in my spreadsheet. Like, just Tsitsipas was obviously better. Struff broke once, and he saved 9 of 10 break points. And I think he won the one tiebreak they played in the match, right?
Right.
So like it was really like Tsitsipas could have won this like 4-3, and that probably would have been a more appropriate score. Like Struff all week got a little bit lucky, so I think this run is a little bit overrated. Like he got outplayed for large portions of almost every match.
All of his matches won 3 sets, right? He won even 3 sets with Shelton, I believe.
Cachin outplayed him for large parts of the match against him. Yeah, like
I mean, but something has to be said about his mental fortitude to get through those matches.
I don't know, man. Like if this is something we saw, like Struff was like the mental king every week, maybe. But like, what? He just suddenly is the mental king in Madrid and like nowhere else.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's fair because he lost Etcheverry today in a challenger, so maybe he's. But I don't know. I was impressed. I was also impressed by the fact that he took a set of Alcaraz. Like that was impressive.
I do think like he's mentally not afraid, and I think there's something. I think it's somewhere in between. Like,
yeah,
I think he got lucky to do as well as he did in that Tsitsipas match, even in the Alcaraz match a little bit. But I will agree with you. He does seem to have a lack of fear, I guess, which is what you're saying by fortitude.
Lack of fear. I would.
Yeah,
and I think like Tsitsipas, the fact that Struff has challenged him in head-to-heads, I think that was a big kind of part of that match, like just,
I don't know.
Just the fact that like, I don't really think Tsitsipas matches well against Struff. I know he quote unquote dominated that match, but like what Tsitsipas is weak at is something that Struff can use to his advantage.
But it goes the other way too, right? You can flip the whole thing around when it's on Tsitsipas's serve. Right, like Tsitsipas, when Tsitsipas is attacking, he gets to dominate too. It's a match where whoever's attacking kind of gets to dominate.
That's fair, but like Tsitsipas is not going to break Struff's serve very much because Struff has a good serve, right? And he can attack that backhand, right?
Yeah, he's not gonna break it a ton, but he could. I mean, he easily could have gotten 3 breaks in that match. If he gets 3 breaks in that match, it's a very different story. Rather than the one he got, right? Like,
I just think that Tsitsipas struggles, like on any surface, clay, hard, doesn't matter, against guys who hit big and can attack his backhand. That's why he struggles against Kyrgios. That's why he struggles against Struff, right? But guys that he dominates are guys like de Minaur, right? Guys that can't really attack him because they don't hit big enough.
I agree with the matchup analysis. I just don't know that Struff is good enough to right now challenge him on a regular basis. Like, it's somewhere in between. Like, yeah, I hear your point, but like,
I don't think so. I just think that like his game style matches up well against Tsitsipas. Tsitsipas is miles ahead of
how
Struff.
often out of 10 does Struff win this match? I think maybe 2.
I'd say 3.
That's
But
pretty
I mean,
close.
we're not far off.
Yeah.
But like, if you give me someone around Struff's ranking and tell me how many times do they beat Tsitsipas, it's probably 0 to 1, right? So
Well, Struff's ranking now. I think he's back up in the top 50 again.
That's true. That's true. But like, still, okay, guys.
But I hear your point. Like better than like Struff. Like Struff matches up better with Tsitsipas than most guys between 50 and 100 in the world. Fine,
Yes.
I'll give you that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. I did okay on the Zhang Karatsev match. I don't know. I didn't really see too much of this. I don't know that I have much to comment on it. I did bet it. I had them to go 3 sets at plus 135, and I had which lost for me. And I had them to play a tiebreak, which won for me, which I thought both were good bets. Hit one, missed one. I did make a little money on that. Made it a quarter of a unit.
That's good. That's good. I mean, what do you think? What do you make of Karatsev? Do you think it's just like one good week on kind of a?
Yeah, I mean, this is what he does, right? Like, he has like random good weeks. It's like he has random 1 or 2 good weeks a year, and like the rest of the time he's crap. Like, what did he do in Rome?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing. Did he even play Rome?
I don't think he did. I don't even remember, to be honest. Like, clearly it wasn't memorable because we don't remember it.
He's resting those calves of his.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, yeah, I mean he's a good solid ball striker, but like I don't know. I tend to agree with you. He's due for 2 or 3 good weeks a year, and that's it. So, and that's what I thought Coric was until he backed up his run in Madrid with a decent run in Rome. So, yeah. I mean, what do you think about the Struff Alcaraz match?
So I didn't get to see much of it. I mean, it's impressive on Struff that he took a set.
Yeah.
I don't know. How well did Alcaraz play?
Well, but not his best. But Struff clearly put pressure on him. You know, like his game plan was definitely very good. I was surprised that like Alcaraz was not able to manufacture as many breaks as he should have.
Well, but again, so we'll look at this, right? In the second set, the one that Struff won, Alcaraz was 0-5 on break point.
Mm-hmm.
For the match, Alcaraz converted 3 of 11, which isn't terrible. But he was 0-5 in the second set, which is kind of how Struff got that set. Because Struff only 1 out of 2 himself. Although Struff did have a better percentage of return points won. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's trying to look and see. Alcaraz had 24 winners. Struff had 36 winners for the match, 12 unforced errors. Actually, outwinnered Alcaraz 36-24. You don't usually see
Yeah,
that.
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And I believe there was like one really long game in the third set, which kind of turned the match into Alcaraz's
Yeah.
favor, but
Yeah.
it was closer. It was very close. I mean, I believe wasn't.
Yeah, this actually was a pretty close match. So
Very
Alcaraz
close.
won 99 points to Struff's 96. He won 41 out of 100 points, or 104 out on the return, which is 39%. Struff won 33 out of 91, which is 36%. So yeah, a couple of points here and there was really the difference. I mean, yeah, so good on
Wasn't Struff up a break in the first as well?
Yeah, I thought that he broke. I thought Alcaraz broke him to start, but no, I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong. I think you had bet Alcaraz 2-0, didn't you?
I did.
Your favorite bet.
I was very pro Alcaraz in that match. I think I had Alcaraz -5.5 as well. I mean, I was very, very pro Alcaraz.
I was just pro not breaks, and I got kind of hammered on that.
Yeah.
Oh, we can talk about my favorite. I think it was my favorite bet of the week. My favorite bet of the week was actually in the Karatsev Struff semi, the 40-1. Stealing 36 units from the book because the book mistyped 40 instead of 4.
That was amazing. I mean, what was the bet again?
It was both players to win their first service game to over 15.
It's just crazy of Bovada's book errors. Like it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's the only site I see that has book errors too. Like I have like 6, 7, or 8 different
It's
books.
so bad. Like, how can this happen?
It is. It happens all the time too.
Oh, it's like once a week. Like
it's crazy. It's just like It's terrible. I would like recommend all our viewers just to open a Bovada account just for the
to take advantage of their errors.
Just take advantage of their errors. Like you can use your other books. You might find a better line on another book, but like just for the book errors. And we'll point them out. We're not shy.
But yeah, there's ridiculous stuff on there. It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. So that was really good, but credit Struff. I mean, one of our biggest segments on this podcast will be our play court power rankings. I think that'll be a nice way to recap.
That'll be fun, yeah.
I'm sure Struff is on both of our lists, right? So
yeah, so we'll talk about that.
Talk about him more. How about I mean, we did touch on Karatsev a little bit, but like, how about Zhang, who made a good run? He had a couple really good wins. And Pedro Cachin, who did well in Madrid as well. Like, what are your thoughts?
I mean, Cachin's, I guess, Madrid's such a funny tournament, man.
It is.
Like, with where it is in the calendar, being at altitude, in a part of the calendar that's really there. There's not like other big. The other main events at this time, right, are not altitude events. Like you have like Madrid, that's also, or not Madrid, Munich, that's at altitudes. There's a couple other events out there that are altitude, but like they're like 250s. Like it's like of the main events that most guys are playing, like this is the only altitude event. So it's kind of weird. It's a great event. I get why it's on the calendar. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying it's weird compared to Madrid, to Monte Carlo, Rome, and Barcelona. It's very different. So I kind of put it in its own bucket a little bit. So I have a hard time having like a ton of
Zhang and Cachin are not guys that I would think would do well in altitude.
Cachin, I'm not surprised. A lot of, like, I feel like more of the South American tournaments are at altitude. Just because you have like, because it's and so because he's South American, I'm not that surprised. Like I feel like Madrid plays a little bit more like those South American. Also, the weather tends to be a little warmer in Madrid. The climate's a little warmer compared to
But it's just weird because he's been so bad all year, and then like he just comes up with a good run, beating
it's a little weird
guys, and he outplayed Struff. Like, he's better than Struff for most of that match.
Yeah.
So, did you bet Cachin money line there?
I did.
You did?
I did.
I think I tailed you on that. We talked about it.
Yeah, at plus 145. I'm not upset about it in reality. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was a close match, and Struff was the better player for the first two sets.
Right. Right. And
Uh,
Zhang, I mean, I really don't know what to make of him. Like, I know he's gonna be on your like another segment we're gonna do is our wordplay segment. I know he's gonna be on there. I was thinking about it like when we were texting about it, and I was like, I know this guy's gonna come up, and I have no idea what to say because like I think 3 of the matches he won were in what third set tie breaks, right?
yeah, and like, I don't know, man. Like,
I don't
here's the
really think
problem,
he's
right?
any
Like, I'm
threat
looking
at
at
Roland
this.
Garros.
What?
I don't really think he's any threat at Roland Garros.
No, I mean, will he even qualify? I think that's the question. I'm assuming he'll be in qualies.
I
Oh no, I
guess.
guess he won't be. He's ranked in the top 70. I didn't realize that. Ranks a
Yeah.
lot higher than I realized because of that run. Now he's in the
Right.
top 70. Um, Here's the problem, right? Like, he beat Shapo in the third set tiebreak. Well, Shapo I thought played terrible. I mean, he always plays terrible now, but like, standard Shapo stuff.
Right.
Just completely clowned away the third set tiebreak. Um, Norrie outplayed him for most of that match. I mean, it was 2-6, 7-6, 7-6. Like,
Yeah.
Fritzy got really lucky. Like, this was a really lucky run, to be honest. Like, and yeah, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go not as excited here. I'm not gonna fade him completely, but like, he is 26. Just look this up. He is 26, so he's
Mhm.
not that young. Um, don't know, man. Like, I don't know.
I
I think
really
this is like
don't
a
know
kind
what
of
to
a
make of it because I agree with you. It was lucky. I agree. I think he was mentally tough to come through those matches.
and he's got weapons. Like, he has potential. He has weapons. He's
Yeah.
just like he's like Chapo. But like, again, like a more battling, like probably better mental, but like better mental, but
Yeah.
same erraticness.
Mm.
Not with the body language and like the not the way Chapo can just completely go away, but in terms of like not, and I guess his tactics are a little better than Chapo's, but like,
Yes.
makes tons of errors.
The Fritz win was impressive. The mental fortitude. I know Fritz choked, being up 40 love and, in the second set and like 3 match points and whatever, but that was a good effort. Like that was a good win.
Fine. I mean, I think he's a good effort player. It's just like, I don't know, man. Like, there's nothing else backing this up, and then he turns around and loses the
Yeah.
first round of Rome qualies to Maestrelli, which, granted, that's a guy at home, like a good
Right.
clay guy, a guy who's made for those courts, but like, still, like, I don't think that, my opinion of him hasn't changed that much. He's the same, like, borderline. He's the same, like, high challenger, like borderline top 100 guy he was before.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, he might be a guy to fade because like off that Madrid run, the books might actually give him some respect.
Maybe, like, I mean,
And like,
the problem is we have to see who he plays, because like, it's
yeah.
unfortunate because he's in a spot where, like, being like 70 in the world, like, he's gonna either play. I don't know. I feel like he's like in this weird awkward in between spots where if he's playing in ATP tournaments, he's likely to be playing against guys better than him most of the time. And if he's playing in challenger tournaments, he's gonna be playing against guys worse than him. So I think it's gonna be like hard to. I think he's actually gonna be a hard guy to fade.
Is he?
Because are you gonna like routinely fade him, like, and by fade him meaning take like money lines on like plus 150 of a guy like Maestrelli against him?
I don't know. I mean, he's not even in the main draw of Lyon next week. He's playing qualies against Maxime Janvier.
Yeah,
So
French guy, right?
yeah,
Yeah, like, because like that's what I mean. Like, you're gonna like. So how do you fade that? it really sucks that he's in this like weird purgatory in the rankings.
It is. It is
Because if
weird.
he makes the main draw, he's going to play against somebody like a Rusevori who's way better than him, and then like you can't fade him because the line is like Rusevori -4.
I see your point. I just think like against Janvier, for example, like what is he going to be, like a 6-game favorite?
I don't think so. I mean, 6 is a lot for a quali.
6 is a lot, but like
And for a guy at home.
yeah, but what I'm saying is like as a big favorite, he might be actually a guy to fade because I feel like the books are going to
Maybe.
weigh in that Madrid, like only as a favorite. If he's a dog, I think it's tough. You know, like if he plays like Etcheverry, or for example, like it's
But like what makes you think this Janvier can Maxime Janvier can beat him? Like Janvier, I'd actually seen his name pop up in draws, but like he hasn't done anything in forever. I guess he did okay in some random challenger back in March, but like that he
I
qualified
mean, I would have
into.
to
But like,
look into his results and stuff, like, you know, and watch YouTube of him and see how he matches up. Like there's stuff I have to see of him before I bet that, but like
I get it. But my point is like I think you're gonna see a lot of these matches where like you can't auto fade or auto hit. You're just gonna get a lot of these like crappy. It sucks. Like if he was like 40 in the world, like it'd be
yeah.
you would actually get chances to hit him in like match against like we could say like okay I'm gonna fade him against like relatively equal looking competition.
Yeah, but I mean, my overall takeaways, I kind of agree with you. Like I think I'm kind of in the same place that I was before this event, even though he had that
Yeah.
really good run. Like I don't think look at him much higher than I did. I think it was a good run. It was mentally tough. He beat quality opposition. Well, Fritz and Norrie for the most part, not Chapo, but those 2 wins were good. I gained respect for his mental fortitude, but like in terms of overall picture, not really that much, you know.
Yeah.
And same as Karatsev, like as you said, 1 good run a year.
Yeah.
That's what he is. That's what he
Yeah.
is. And Cachin, man, I mean, the one impressive win it was against Tiafo, I guess, but like Tiafo played so bad. So I think we
Yeah.
talked about it a little bit on our last pod. And
Yeah.
who did he play after that?
He lost his Struff in the 4th round, so he didn't play that many other guys after
Okay.
that.
All right. So that's all he played. And then he lost to Garin in 3 sets in Rome. 7-6 in the 3rd.
He lost a challenger to D'Alberon in Wirus.
Yeah.
Say that.
Marino de Abron. Yeah.
Actually, did beat Cerundolo in Madrid, but I don't know if Madrid's really a great place for Cerundolo's game.
That's a good win, though. I have to say.
It's a good win, but I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. And then losing in the 3rd set breaker to Garin in Rome is not terrible, I guess.
It's not terrible.
So he's definitely off the fade list for me. I actually think I'm
Is he in the power rankings?
Ooh, see? Okay. Uh we do have to
Cachin.
talk a little bit about Rome, but like the power rankings, once you get to like, so we like, just to disclose, we did 1 through 20 in our power rankings, both of us. I'm so curious to see what you have, but like between 15 and 20, it was very, very fuzzy. Like I had no idea who to put there,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
We'll talk about it more. We'll talk
Okay,
about it when
we'll
we
talk
get
about
there.
more. We'll talk
All
about it.
right. So moving on to Rome, first few
Yeah.
rounds.
Uh-huh.
Dude, it's been brutal for me, man. I've had several like parlays where I got reverse swept again. Like it's just been a terrible clay season. Wu beat Gasquet. I bet Gasquet the money line at 240 against Yibing Wu.
Okay.
Thinking like, okay, that's a safe bet. That can make a nice little 0.4 units. Nope, not happening. I bet O'Connell versus Popperin, like
I hit that.
Popperin's gonna be sloppy on a slow clay court. Nope,
too.
Cerundolo against Fees. Cerundolo moves like Manuel Cerundolo is one of the best movers on the tour, man. He's really quick around the court. If you've ever seen him play, he doesn't really have any tennis game, which is the problem. Like he can't really volley. He's pretty consistent, but he can't really volley. He can't really be aggressive off either wing. But he's a really good mover. Yeah, but I thought he could beat Fees. I thought feels Fees, especially on a slow clay court, would just get frustrated and like miss balls. Nope, that didn't work. Bet your own again. More your own money line against Safiullin. Like I thought,
what are you doing with your
money.
own? What are you doing with your own? Stop betting him.
I know.
Stop. Just stop betting him.
I know. You just see your own and be like, this match is auto, stay away. And honestly, with the way he is, it really is the case. Like he really is auto stay away.
He's so mentally
because like he's just so. But when he decides not to be mentally weak, he's like a decent tennis player.
But it's so few and far between.
I know. It's the problem.
Just like, and the problem is when he faces some adversity, there's no getting out of it. Right? He doesn't know how to face adversity. He doesn't know how to problem solve. You know, that's his biggest problem. If things are going well and he's beating the guy like,
so I don't know. I guess like I think he knows how to problem solve like tactically. Yeah, I think there's actually videos of him on YouTube like telling people how to tactically solve problems.
Oh Jesus!
The problem is he can't implement them in matches because he just gets so frustrated and like whiny. He like doesn't implement. But yeah.
You got to stop betting your own, especially on like clay.
Yeah. Maybe like on American hard courts you can bet him where he's at home and he has a little more reason to be excited.
You got to stay away there.
I bet Pedro against Bublik. I really thought Bublik would just not even bother showing up. Like I thought he'd just show up, mail it in for 2 sets, and go home. Like why would he want to play? But he really wanted to play. And then he came out and he played really well against Rune. Like I think maybe he realized his ranking is starting to fall and like he knows he needs points or something because like he's actually putting a pretty good effort this clay season.
He has, and especially like, you know, clay, but it's not just like clay. It's like slow clay with rain being damp. You know, doesn't do that much. Like
nobody wants to be out here, but Bublik is like out here all of a sudden, like kind of like in the points. He's not really battling, but he's like I think actually that's more what it is. He's like he just happened to serve really well in the Ruud match, and like he was serving well. And he's like hitting his forehands and his volleys really well because like he wasn't really trying to win points. Like his tactics were like just brutal. Like he'd go 5 balls in a rally and just bail out. Like hit either like a ridiculous winner that had no chance, or like even worse, he hit like a terrible bailout drop shot. Like you hit a lot of drop shots, but you do battle in points. I will give you credit for that, more so than Bublik.
Yeah, that's fair. But I'd rather you bet Bublik than Giron. All right, just like for future reference. I mean, neither guy is great to bet, but like at least Bublik has like a crazy amount of tennis talent, you know, and he actually has tools to beat you on a slow clay court. Whereas
he's supposed to beat you on any court.
On any court, yeah, he's just exceptionally talented. He's just like a clown, right?
Yeah.
But Giron I wouldn't characterize him as a clown. I just characterize him as a whiner. And like whiners don't win tennis matches. That's just not how this sport is built, right?
Yeah.
It's just so what else happened in the early rounds?
I bet Montero Manarino to go to. I bet the overs on Montero Manarino because those are just like 2 over guys in general. Nope, this was an undertime for those guys. I bet
Montero plus 225 against Coric was a great bet that we both hit.
Yeah, we didn't miss, but we both tried it.
Yeah, that was what 7-6 in the third, and that was
that was a great match. 3.5 hour match. Baena and Evans went like 4 hours.
That was insane.
It was an insane match. I actually watched that. That was an insane match.
I hit the over 12.5 there for Baena. That hit. You hit the Evans money line. Is that right?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I ended up hedging it and actually making money because I hedged it with Baena -2 in the third set
Ooh, I like
at
that.
plus 105.
Okay. I like that.
Because Evans was kind of starting to gas out. And I
Yeah.
thought once the first two sets went 3 hours, that was like Baena's dream world.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okada -2.5 against Kubler. I think we both hit that. That was terrific.
that was probably our bet of the day, our bet of the week in terms of a
That's
bet that
what I
like we
bet,
hit and just like came through with flying colors. And he
Yeah.
was down 3-love, 2 breaks the first set. And like once he woke up, it was just
Yep. Yeah. Kubler's just a terrible clay court player. It's just that
it's partially that. It's also like a guy like Kubler, Zapata will destroy. We'll probably end up talking Zapata later at some point, but like Zapata will destroy a guy like Kubler.
Right. I thought Altmaier money line against Tiafo. I think we both hit that. I like that bet. Did it hit?
No, it didn't. Altmaier
No,
lost
it
in
didn't.
3.
Yeah.
But that was kind of unfortunate because Altmaier was ahead, and there was a rain delay, and it screwed the whole thing up.
Right.
It got pushed the next day.
Right.
There were a lot of backdoor pushes this week in Rome, a ton,
Yeah.
where favorites lost sets and came back to push or win on like -5 type of lines. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm. Well, this
Um,
was the takeaway, right? Because like there was a day where we didn't really talk much about like our bets because like I was on the other side of the world, but like
yeah.
there were a lot of matches where we agreed on, except you played the sets and I played the games or vice versa, right?
Yeah.
And what was our takeaway there? Like playing the sets was better?
Take sets, lay games on slow play.
Take sets, lay games. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably
Because like it's very easy for a guy to come out, play a good set, win the set, and then play horrendous and get and like on grass, if you play horrendous, you get beat like 6-4 or 6-3. On clay, you can get bagel or get breadstick if you play bad
right.
for a set. And I think you see it more in the game spread. Like the problem with betting set lines with that is that like the lines really move for the set on over unders. Like the books are pretty smart about that. I feel like the game spread it's harder for them to be smart about that because it's kind of like usually you take like how good you think the players are on that surface or on that day. And if you think well, this guy is like X better, you say, okay, he's going to be like this much of a favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But you can only move it up or down so much. Like it's hard to like you're not going to see like many guys go out at like 6-game favorites because like it's clay, unless it's like a guy who's like not an ATP level player versus like a top guy in the world.
Yeah.
But like a 6-game spread is coverable on clay, whereas it's really hard to cover on a faster surface.
It is. It just seemed like a lot, but like you're 100% right. Like it's just when I saw a subpar Djokovic being like 5.5 game favorite over like Etcheverry, who's been good for his kind of his level, like I was like, oh, I'm taking Etch there plus 5.5, but like I think he got it, but like barely, you know?
Yeah, and there was a 7-6 set in the
Away.
first set. Like if he would have lost that
Exactly.
set, you would have been probably screwed.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like 6 games is not that much on clay. It's insane. Insane.
Yeah. How about JJ Wolf making a little bit of a run here in Rome?
Why is he on your power rankings?
Ooh, that's a good preview. Good preview. No, he's not. He wasn't giving me my wordplay
No.
either. I just thought I thought it was interesting that he did win a couple matches. Like for how bad he had been on clay previously on a slow clay. I mean, I know he's beating guys like Hugo Grenier, but still, like I thought it was. I don't know.
Yeah,
I thought it was good. I thought it was good for him. I think for him as a player and for his career, I think it's good to see him able to beat somebody on a slow court.
I think it's good for him. I think it's really bad for Humbert-Etcheverry. That's my bigger takeaway. The fact that like Humbert-Etcheverry loses in straight sets to JJ Wolf, like that should not happen.
I hear you, but I guess that's part of the problem with Hubie, right? Is like every match with him is going to be like is gonna come down to a few points. Like if he has a day where he's not winning those key points, he's done.
Yeah, but he's really got to improve that. Like he's better than that. Like to have one of the best serves in the game
Yeah.
and like to be that incompetent on return, you know, and like just being like pushing the ball around the court, like doesn't he
Yeah.
realize like that's not good enough? I don't
Yeah.
know. Like it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating.
Yeah.
What else from early rounds in
Well, I was disappointed to see that Wu couldn't that Cerundolo lost a set to Wu on a slow clay course. That was disappointing. Baez got straight setted by Shevchenko.
yeah.
Um,
I thought Shevchenko, I think I hit the over 21.5 there.
did that get there?
Um,
21 and a half?
I don't even think so. It was like 4 and
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
So Baez, I mean, he's not been that good this year, you know, like
No, he was great in South American Golden Swing.
just Cordoba.
He made a final also somewhere, didn't he? Didn't he make a final or a semi somewhere else? I look this up. I swear he had a pretty good match with Yari somewhere.
I don't think so.
This is under review. He made a quarters of Rio, a
Okay.
semis of Santiago.
Would he lose in Santiago?
Etch.
Okay. Not that terrible.
And
And
quarters he lost to Yari in quarters of Rio.
but got whooped, right?
No, 3 and 6.
Okay. All right.
I mean, that's not a bad swing to win a tournament, make a semi and a quarter.
And he lost first round in Buenos Aires, right?
Yeah, that was the bad one. He lost to Lajovic. Yeah, that was a bad result. But honestly, losing to Lajovic on a clay court's not that horrible either.
It's not terrible, I guess. I think he's just like, I don't know. I'm curious to see if he's in your power rankings. I don't know. I think Baez has been a step under where he was last year.
He was actually going to be in my word play, so now I'll take him out of my word play. But he's going to be in my word play because I really wanted to see what you were going to say about Baez.
Okay. All right. Good point.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll keep him in. I want to hear what your word is for Baez. Trying to see if there's anything else in the early rounds that was interesting. We talked about me being frustrated with ADF somehow going over 12.5 versus Pella, completely inexcusable. And then that Hurkacz Wolf match, man, like they can't even go over 9.5 in the first set.
I know that was painful.
It has to be that bad. Like Huey's the one thing Huey's supposed to do.
Seriously.
Doing he couldn't even do that.
I hit Hubie over 12.5. That didn't get there. I mean, it was just like that was such a bad match.
I pushed on ARV +7 against Alcaraz. I just thought that was funny because ARV started up 2-0.
I know. It's crazy.
And I saw it coming. Like the whole time I'm like, the shoe's gonna drop at some point, and like this is gonna just fall off the map completely. Like I was praying he could like run out the clock to lose like 4 and 2 and cover 6. And he ended up pushing at 7. Like it was
How about Matteo Arnaldi? Did you bet him against Musetti?
I did not. I think I laid off that match completely.
You did.
Yeah.
I bet the Arnaldi money line there.
So I had him beat Ruud in Madrid. That was my big win on Arnaldi. But yeah.
Yeah.
Did you make any money on Fonini this week in Rome, or did you lose money on him?
Well, I lost against Ruud. No, the Rune, right? Because I bet I think +5.
Okay.
And then in his early rounds, what did I do? Oh, I bet him money line against Murray. So I won that.
Okay, so you made money on him overall.
I made money on that.
Yeah, I lost a little money on him. I I split 2 units across 3 bets. I had Fognini money line against Rune, Fognini to win a set, and Fognini in the first set, Fognini plus 2.5. So I covered the first set line. I lost the other 2.
Okay.
We talked about Bublik Ruud. Yeah, I don't know, man.
So one guy I'm really fading right now is Nakashima.
Yeah, I should have faded him, but he played somebody crappy and he lost. But he played somebody like the line on him I didn't think was that great. Like I wanted to fade him, and then like the books are fading him too, man. Like you have to really fade him hard if you're gonna fade him.
He played Barrere.
Yeah.
So,
and he was the dog.
I know.
And like it's just so hard to bet Barrere as a favorite against anybody on a clay. Like Barrere would prefer to be on a French indoor hard court.
I know I won that bet against Nakashima plus 115.
How many games did you lay?
No, I just did money line.
Oh, he was plus 115 against Nakashima?
Yeah, against Barrere.
You found that?
Barrere
against Nakashima. Okay.
So.
Well, then that was a good bet. I think you might have hit it early or something or late maybe because like I think when I saw that it was like like I think the market had taken like I think when I saw it was like Nakashima was like a 2-game favor or something insane and like it was just like not like
one of the bets of the week was Hanfmann money line against Yari first round in Rome plus 115.
Nice.
Good bet. Yeah. It's like Yari really you hit it like spot on when you like said that he needs those hot South American clay courts. Like that was a great call because like he really does. Like he can't play on like slow damp clay.
Yari can't, yeah.
Oh, he can't. He can't. Like he needs heat, altitude. Like he needs all of that. Otherwise, it sucks.
Yeah.
Like it's that was a great.
Yeah, that was a miss on my part. I should have remembered that, and I forgot because that was one of the takes that I think I had early on one of our previous pods. It's just our pods are so long, I can't go back and watch all of them before every tournament.
Yeah.
I can't even find all of them. Like, although I am happy, I think at least like Google's starting to not put our pods next to like the rain pods. Like, if you look at our pods up right now, you look for like related pods to our podcast. It's like the sound of rain to help you sleep. I think we're getting a few less of those now and a few more like relevant, like relevant hits at least, which is better.
Why our pods are going to become white noise? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe they are. I mean, maybe that's what they are. Like,
yeah.
Manny's soothing voice puts you to sleep.
Let's get into the more like mainstream matches. Oh, before we do that, I actually want to talk about some futures that we had because we didn't talk about like Rome draw and futures. Like, what futures did you have for Rome?
I had an outright on Rublev at 40 that missed.
Me too.
I had a what else I had here? I bet too much, man. That's my takeaway from this pod.
Well, especially because all of my futures lost.
So I actually had one hit. I had Rune to win the quarter, and that hit at 3-1.
Good. 3-1.
But I had Rublev to win his quarter at 4.5-1, miss. Fritz to win his quarter at 8.5-1, miss. And Rublev outright at 40-1, miss.
So I had a Rune Alcaraz final at 12-1. I had a Rune Rublev final at 150-1, which I think was preposterous. Like that was like that's amazing. I had Sinner Rublev final at 100-1. I had a Djokovic Rublev final at 66-1.
I mean, in general, like Rublev was not highly thought of heading this tournament. My outright on him was 40-1. Like it was just he just was not a highly thought of guy.
Yeah. So and I did a Rune Sinner Rublev quarter parlay at like 80-1.
Yeah.
Maybe not 80. I don't remember the exact odds on that, but it was pretty good. And it's just like, Rublev lost a tight 3-setter to Hanfmann.
Yeah.
So it's tough, and like I mean, he would have played Medvedev. I mean, like, but I don't know if Medvedev would have played as well as he did against Hanfmann against Rublev. You know, like
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I
so.
hear you.
But let's talk a little bit about the Alcaraz Maroszan match. So that was probably the upset of the clay court swing. I think
Yeah, I mean that's one I think the upsets of like
of the decade.
maybe all time. Like, I mean, I don't know about all. I mean, I don't think it's in like the list of top 5 or top 10 because
Yeah,
it's just not like it's a Masters, but it's not a slam, and I think it makes a huge difference in best of 5. But it's a pretty darn big upset.
it is.
That said, like I don't really have a negative takeaway on Alcaraz off of this. Like Maroszan played really well, and I feel like this is akin to when Soderling beat. Obviously, Soderling was a way better player, but this is akin to when Soderling beat Nadal at the French, and Soderling just played the match of his life.
Yeah,
And
I'd
I
agree.
felt like it was more like, I mean, Alcaraz is not nearly as good here as Nadal was, obviously at Roland Garros. Like, but I think it's like the same sort of idea, or like Wawrinka beating Djokovic in Roland Garros, like where one guy just played extremely well.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, Maroszan played, I felt like out of his shoes. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
he was just ripping balls. Like he was, I mean, he was ripping a lot of low percentage balls and just making them. And like, I don't know.
and
It's one of those things where
hitting
like
hitting drop shots that were just like insane.
ridiculous. Yeah. And there's nothing in his career that suggests that he can do this on a regular basis.
Right, you actually thought that it was an accurate line, right? 7.5, wasn't it, or 7?
Yeah. And like whatever that money would have been like 30 or 40 to 1 on that, whatever that is, like, yeah, I mean, anybody beats anybody some percentage of the time, right? Like that's my takeaway. Is like, everybody loses sometimes. Like,
My takeaway is that whenever any top 100 guy is a more than a 7-game favorite, I think you have to take plus the games.
oh, I disagree. Well, Maroszan isn't even top 100. He's like 150. He's not even like an ATP level guy. And like because so my counter that is going to be like ARV pushed at 7. Bagnes got like destroyed. He was like a 7.5 ace. Like
I understand, but don't you think it's worth the risk? Because if the guy starts up a break or something like 2-love, like you're
ARV didn't, he pushed. he backed all the way out to a push. Like,
all right.
no, I think the line was well set here. Like, I think like this is just like Maroszan played the match of his life. Like, and even like at 20 to 1, I think you probably lose this like 98 times out of 100. Like every so often this is gonna happen, right? Like, if you pull a card out of the deck, like yeah, like at some occasion it's gonna be the ace of spades. Like,
okay, all right. You don't buy into the narrative that, like, I know we discussed this a little bit, that the fact that he achieved the #1 ranking,
no,
you
no, I
don't
mean
buy into that
no,
at
because
all?
like I think Maroszan just played so well. Like that's the, like I saw the highlights. Like Maroszan played out of his shoes, and it wasn't like smart shots. He was just like bombing balls or like trying like really high level difficulty shots. Like, I guess like if you want to go with a matchup takeaway, I think there's a takeaway that like Alcaraz can be bullied, and the best way to play him is to bully him. Like he kind of struggles with Sinner a little bit, who bullies him. Like a guy like Rune maybe has a chance if he just like just keeps the ball deep and like bullies him around, because like Alcaraz isn't the best tactically still. Like, so I guess that would be my takeaway. But like, I just think I don't know. I think this is like the 1 out of 50 or 1 out of 100 shot that came through. Like it's gonna happen occasionally.
Okay, so no, it doesn't like lower your stock on him going into the French Open.
Now, if anything, it actually raises it because he's not going to wear himself out going all the way through Barcelona, Madrid, and Rome.
Okay, all right. I
Yeah, I mean, look,
I can
I
see
don't
both
know
of
if it's
them.
a strength or a weakness, but you tend to take something away from every match. And like maybe it's his strength. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's probably like sometimes
Yeah.
good, sometimes bad. Whereas I probably tend to like not take away enough things from things that happen. So like, yeah. But it's probably just a different way of going about things.
To me, what this match does though is it gives me flashbacks to the Alcaraz ARV match at Roland Garros last year. And I know Alcaraz won that match and he saved match points and came back. But like it shows to me that if he doesn't have his antennas up at all times, he could be vulnerable. That's what it tells me. Because he's not Djokovic, Nadal, Federer level yet. And I think like people kind of tend to put
No, because the tactics aren't good. The problem is the tactic.
Right.
The difference is the tactics. So yeah, I guess if you want to have that takeaway, I guess. Like I'm cool with that takeaway. I agree, but like
And
again, like you're saying, he's not like one of the best of all time. Like
okay, but what that also told me is that there's absolutely no value in betting Alcaraz to win the French Open at plus 125 or plus 130. There's absolutely no value in that. Doesn't matter what his draw is. You know? That's basically my takeaway to this match.
there's a draw where I can see it having value. There is a draw. I doubt you'll see that draw because I actually think like most of the top ranked guys in the world right now are playing pretty decent on clay. But I think there is a draw like that exists out there. Like, but I don't know. Like the problem is somebody decent's going to end up in his half, right?
But what I'm saying is that he could be vulnerable against a guy that's not decent in our minds, like a Maroszan.
So what does vulnerable mean? Like what percentage chance would they have to win?
A low chance, but like, you know, if he can like they can stretch him to 4 or 5 sets if he's missing.
How low is low? Is it 2%, 5%, 10%?
5%.
Okay.
I don't know. I just think that like he needs to have his antennas up in every match, you know, like even in New York, you know, like nearly lost to Cilic, you know, nearly lost to Tiafoe.
Yeah, I mean, if the idea if we're saying he's not Nadal at Roland Garros, yeah, I agree. Like, you know, or you know, it's, and I think again, it's all because like the tactics aren't there yet. But like, and he's not terrible tactically; he's just not like as good tactically as like a Nadal is, or like or Nadal. Like, you know, he's not complete yet. He's still got a couple holes, but like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, I tend to actually agree with you that it's good for him going into the French though. Like it will get his antennas up, right? It's a wake-up call. It will give him some rest. So I actually think it's a good thing, you know.
Yeah, I'll go with the rest angle over the antennas up angle. Like, I don't know, man. I don't see that guy ever having his antennas down. Like, you think his antennas were down on this match and that's why he lost? I don't think so. I think Maroszan just played like absolutely amazing. Like
okay,
he almost took the racket out of Val quick. Like in tennis, that's the cool thing about tennis, right? It's like you can take the racket out of your opponent's hand at any time. You have to take insane risks and you're probably gonna drill the ball into the fence. But like if you or I were playing like Federer, we could try to hit an ace on every serve. Right? We're probably gonna hit like 38 double faults, but like we could try to ace on every serve.
I don't think I could hit the ball hard enough to actually ace those guys, you know, like even if I tried to. You know, I just don't have the capability of hitting the ball that hard. But
I don't know. I think you do. Like, I think you could hit a ball 120 miles an hour if you wanted to. I don't think you could make it in the court, but I think you could hit the ball that hard. If you just swung the ball racket as hard as you possibly could. You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Why, have you tried it?
No, I've never tried to just blast. Like usually when you do like the radar gun challenges, like they don't just let you blast, right? You have to make the ball on the court. So like
True. Yeah. I guess. I mean, we'll see. I'm curious to see where you have. I'm assuming you have Alcaraz at 1, but like, I'm so curious to see what your power rankings are.
All right.
I really am.
Um,
Let's talk a little bit about Djokovic. So he played Etcheverry, then he played Norrie, and then he played Rune.
yeah, I mean, he's in my power ranking, so I'll talk more about him then.
Okay.
But yeah.
What did you make of the Djokovic Norrie beef?
I'm very I guess I'm very pro Norrie on this. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I've hit overheads at guys that I'm buddies with before, like in matches, like in like actual like matches, like in like my leagues or in tournaments and stuff. Like, I don't know, if I'm not feeling confident, like sometimes I'll just drill an overhead down the middle of the court because I know at least I won't hit it wide,
Right.
or I don't have to like, or I don't have to like push it or take anything off of it, and I can just like drill it, and like if he hits it back, he hits it back, and like usually I'll apologize or something or put the hand up, and maybe like I guess maybe like Norrie could have been a little more sportsmanlike in that sense, but like I don't know, man. Like I'm not.
Did put the hand up.
Yeah. So like, what else do you want? Like I don't know. Like I think that like I don't know. I don't take it. And like also like Djokovic was turned away. It's a tennis ball. Like what's gonna happen? It's gonna like hit him in the calf or the
Right. It's not
foot.
a golf
Like
ball.
it's not a golf ball. He didn't go for his head.
Right.
Right. Like it clearly was to like win the point. It clearly was not to like it wasn't to
Yeah.
like try to like go after the head or like the neck or the chest. Like,
Right.
he was clearly trying to win the point and just like decided to spike the ball up the middle because like then he didn't have then he was just completely taking wide out of play and like, you know.
I tend to agree with you. I mean, Djokovic seemed to be more mad at like other things, like fist pumping after every point or whatever, and like
But I kind of get that
medical
too. Like
time
Norrie's
out.
really struggling lately, and he'll be in one of the two segments. I'm not going to tell you which yet.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
but uh, but um, but Norrie's been struggling lately, so I don't have an issue with. I think he's trying to trying to find it, and so I don't have an issue with anything Norrie did. Especially if Djokovic is like, yeah, he's a really nice guy in the locker room and all this stuff. Like, I'm gonna weight that a lot
I don't think
heavier.
Norrie had any bad intentions.
No, not to, I don't think any
At
ill will
all.
towards Djokovic. He's just like he's trying to put like Djokovic is a little bit weird with this stuff, man. He's just a weird dude.
He does get weird with this stuff.
And like it's not like Djokovic is not emotive at all either. Like when Djokovic is struggling, Djokovic is like when Djokovic is struggling and really and believes he can win, completely different ballgame. Like Djokovic will be out there smacking rackets around and like, like we've seen plenty of Novak doing, things too. So I don't really.
Oh yeah, medical timeouts. I mean,
Yeah, it's like it's not like it's
yeah, definitely. I
we
mean,
talk Medvedev Zverev.
well, to me, this Djokovic, the fact that Djokovic got so flustered with Norrie doing all this stuff, it kind of shows his lack of confidence. It shows his lack of.
I had that thought at first. That was my first thought.
Yeah.
And now I'm not sure. Because like the narrative makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I also like Djokovic is weird. Like
He's a weird dude.
Just a weird dude. Like it's really hard to analyze Novak Djokovic.
It is. It is. Well, we've always wanted to do a Djokovic, Nadal, Federer pod and just talk those three guys and like, their philosophies and all that. Like, we'll do that at one point, and we'll obviously touch on that more. But I tend to agree with you. I'm pro Norrie in this instance too, and I know you're a bigger Djokovic fan than I am, so that kind of like strengthens my thought on that.
Yeah, I don't have
to me, it shows how Djokovic is really struggling. Like he's looking for an edge, and he's struggling to find one right now. And like match against Rune, like I don't think that was a very high quality match. Djokovic just played badly.
Like I said, we'll talk more about Djokovic. I mean,
okay. You wanted to touch on Medvedev against Zverev?
Zverev, yeah, I mean,
thoughts there.
He's just better. But I'm not surprised that Medvedev won this one. Like, and it'll lead into our Rome preview, but like, I don't know. I don't know if Medvedev is like is Medvedev really a bad player on clay? Or does he just like not always want to be there on clay and just not enjoy it? And it's just a matter of him embracing the surface.
I'm going with the latter.
It's a matter of him embracing the surface. Yeah. So we'll talk about that more in our power rankings. I'm sure he's in both of our top 20s.
Yes.
I was disappointed that Cerundolo didn't win a set versus Ruud, but it was a close match.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of pro Cerundolo money in that match, and I lost 3 units on that, but it was close.
Yeah, I had the 3-set line, and I was pissed it didn't get there, but
yeah.
it was close. I thought Cerundolo played top 10 tennis against Sinner. I'm sure we'll get more into Sinner in our power rankings.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's there, but that being said, I'm not impressed with what I'm seeing from him. And we did touch on Tsitsipas. I thought the match he played against Coric was the best match he's played all clay court season.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's looks. Yeah, I mean, it's. But he's had a pretty good clay court season, honestly. But like, there's been a lot of narrative because he's looked like crap. But like, if you look at his results, they're not bad. Like, I mean, so looking at this, you've got a Barcelona, you've got a Monte Carlo quarter they lost to Fritz, who's a top 10 player in the world. Maybe not on clay. I'm sure we'll talk about that, but his ranking is in the top 10. You've got a finals loss to Barcelona against Alcaraz. You've got a match where he got unlucky against Struff in a Masters quarter. And now you've got Rome where he's in the semis. That's a good clay court season for anybody in the world, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, the results are good.
Yeah.
It's just been really weird how he's gotten there.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel that it's that good, but yeah.
When you look back on it, like, how can you argue with...
I know.
How can you argue with quarter, final, quarter, semi? And semi being a tournament he's still in. He could win the tournament. He's probably the favorite to win the tournament right now.
It's probably because he was so outplayed by
Alcaraz and Barcelona.
The fact that he lost to Struff, like
the Fritz match didn't look good. I mean, well, again, like the optics and the results have been so dichotomous. It's been really interesting.
Yeah.
Again, we'll talk about more in power ranks because I'm sure he's there.
Oh yeah, he's there. He's there.
Speaking of which, that's all I had in terms of matches to talk about.
Yeah.
So I think we're ready to unleash the power rankings.
We are. Let's take a quick break. I'm gonna in our next segment we'll do the power rankings, we'll do our wordplay, and we'll do the Rome semifinal previews. So we'll be right back.
All right, sounds good.
All right, welcome back to the show. So we're in our second part. We're gonna do our much anticipated power rankings, clay court power rankings.
Yeah, Manny's so excited about this. Like this is the only reason Manny wanted to do a podcast was to do these rankings.
I am super excited, but let's be clear about the parameters of it. So today it's just going to be like our clay court power rankings, and then next week we're going to revise these power rankings and talk about how that relates to the Roland Garros, best of 5, the draw, etc. And I think that's our way that we'll make our like futures picks for next week.
Yeah,
that's how we're gonna.
But I think this is an interesting idea overall. It really helped me to think about like who I should bet against too.
Okay.
When I was putting these together and putting these tiers together.
All right, so let's get right into it. So Brad is gonna disclose his 1 through 20, and then I will disclose my 1 through 20, and then we will compare and contrast and discuss. All right.
So I have tiers. So should we start at the bottom or the top?
Ooh, how do you want to do this?
I think we'll start at the bottom.
Start at the bottom?
So I'll disclose I have tiers. So I have somewhere in the range of 7 to 8 tiers, depending on how you.
I want to start at the top because I think the top is a little easier, and then I think at the bottom it gets like interesting.
Okay. All right.
So let's.
So I have one guy in my top tier, and it's Alcaraz.
Okay. So
I think
Alcaraz
he's
is one.
I think he's head and shoulders above anyone else.
Okay. All right.
So who do you have as number one?
Alcaraz.
Okay. But do you think he's head and shoulders above everyone else, or do you think it's close?
It's pretty far above everyone else, but I don't think it's quite as far as you, based on your tone.
Okay. Yeah, for me, it's not remotely close. So I guess if you have guys who or maybe it's remotely close, it's not like Nadal when Nadal has his peak and it was just like a massive gap. Like,
Yeah.
but I have it as a pretty big gap between him
The
and
Maroszan loss narrowed it down a little bit.
Okay, so I didn't, like I said, I think Maroszan played the match of his life. We talked about that 30 minutes ago. I don't really care that he lost that match.
Okay.
Fair. And really, like the way I'm looking at it is like, okay, so if you look at Alcaraz, just like at a blind level, right? Like on clay this year, he's 20-2.
Mm-hmm.
He has the loss to Maroszan we just talked about, and he has a loss to Norrie where he got hurt. He hasn't played a ton of competition, but like you only play the guys you put in front of him, and he's got one top five. He beat Tsitsipas. He killed Tsitsipas in Barcelona, who's one of his biggest competitors, and then he's got a win over Norrie. He's got a win over Kachinov. He's got for me, it's just he's 20-2, and like he has two losses. One was just like completely random, and one where he got hurt. Like there's just no, like the gap to me is just huge. Like I guess like it's not like Nadal huge because he has lost a couple of sets here and there. Like he does have some holes tactically. Yari gave him a good run in Rio. Like there's some, but
he's number one for me, and he's pretty far above, but not like super duper far based on that's just how I look. But he's clearly number one. There's no debating that. I want to go through your list like fully, and then
I'd rather go like group by group, if you don't mind.
You're gonna go group by group, okay?
Yeah, like we'll go through a few at a time because I have tiers. So who do you have as number two then? Who do you think is closest to Alcaraz?
My number two might surprise you. It's Holger Rune.
Yeah, so I was torn here between Rune and Tsitsipas. I think Rune has a better chance of beating Alcaraz for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Rune. I think I'm gonna agree with you.
Wow, I'm surprised by that. I'm very surprised by that.
I mean, the only other guy I have in this, so I actually have 5 guys in this next tier, but I have like a 2A and a 2B here. And tier 2A for me is Rune and Tsitsipas. And it's close.
Tsitsipas was my number 3.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So for me, those two are really close. You could really easily flip those guys. Rune
to me, I can't flip them. I think it's a pretty distinct 2 and 3, but I do view him as 2 and 3.
Yeah, so Rune is 12-2 on clay this year, right? He went to the finals of Monte Carlo, lost a tough match to Rublev. He won Munich, lost the match to ADF we've talked about, quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And then he, is obviously in the semis of Rome. He has a win over Djokovic, win over Medvedev, win over Sinner. So yeah, I mean, definitely he's been better than Tsitsipas has. The only reason why I think it's close is because Tsitsipas does have a much better career backing on clay. That tells you that and I guess I'm also I don't know, he was hurt clearly he was obviously hurt during Indian Wells in Miami. So how much of that rolled into the beginning of the clay season? The Madrid loss to Struff was really weird. Again, he outplayed Struff, I thought, pretty clearly. So then really you're talking about, in terms of losses for Tsitsipas, if you throw that loss out, I mean, Tsitsipas is 13-3 on clay this year. The match we got crushed by Alcaraz, the Struff match, and the Fritz loss at Monte Carlo, which was really ugly. Like, the optics on Tsitsipas have been bad, but the results have been pretty good. And they have not been that. I mean, the results, I guess, I mean, yeah, Rune's been a little better, but Tsitsipas has been much better for his career. So I have Rune at number 2, but it's close.
And to me, the optics play a part in making Rune 2 and Tsitsipas 3. Like, I feel like Tsitsipas has way more weaknesses. Like, the return and the backhand are clear weaknesses, whereas I think Rune is a little bit harder to attack, and he's slightly more physically gifted, I would say.
Physically, Rune is the superior player.
So,
my challenge with Rune are I'm still not convinced about the physicality.
Okay.
And then mentally, the crowds can get into his head. And so that's why I think it's close. Like, Tsitsipas, I think, is more fit, and Tsitsipas is better mentally versus Rune, who's a better physical player.
Fair.
I will say, like, if there's a guy who can challenge, like, I think the biggest challenger to Alcaraz here is Rune. Like, Tsitsipas, it's just a bad, like Alcaraz will kill Tsitsipas every time because Tsitsipas is just too weak on the backhand.
That's true. That is true. And Rune did beat Tsitsipas at the French last year. So got to keep that in mind, I feel like if that didn't take place, you could weigh Tsitsipas's like clay court history more. But the fact that Rune beat him last year at the French in best of 5 when is better on clay now probably than he even was last year. Like, I think, yeah, but okay, fair.
It's tough with Rune because he's so young, right? Now that was really like his coming up party. Like, there's really like he's improved so much in the past 12 months. So I think you're right. I think Rune is the number 2 here, though. I think you've convinced me that he's pretty clearly the number 2. I have a hard time because he's actually I had Tsitsipas actually lower, but I bumped him up a few spots after his win over Coric today, or not today, yesterday.
Okay, all right.
So Alcaraz is the king. Rune and Tsitsipas are tier 2A of the contenders.
I'm very surprised we agree on the first 3.
You thought there'd be more debate there.
I did.
Yeah.
Well, not number 1, but number 2.
Yeah.
And number 3.
So Alcaraz is the king. Rune and Tsitsipas are are true contender are the contenders. My next tier is guys who are like lower contenders. So contenders, but a lesser chance. Okay. And I have 3 guys in this tier.
Okay.
Rublev, and in this order, Rublev number 4, Medvedev 5, Djokovic 6. What's the bottom of your top 5?
So I have exactly the same, except Medvedev and Rublev are flip-flopped.
Okay.
And this is not French Open rankings. This is clay court rankings, like up to this point.
Yeah.
Because when we talk about the French Open, some of these rankings are going to change. And when we talk about draw, and when we talk about, all that, I feel like
it will for me, like, not much would change here. Like, I guess that, like, because I'm thinking I'm thinking a clay. We agreed on a non-altitude clay court. So, like, what would change here? Best of 5 versus best of 3, like, which maybe has some change on some guys, but yeah. But I will still put Rublev over. I mean, yeah. So basically,
what's your reasoning between Rublev over Medvedev? Because I have this is
really close, right? Like, for me, I did the tiers because, like, for me, guys in the same tier are really damn close, right? So, like, if you want to flip-flop Rublev and Medvedev, like, I get it. I'm not going to argue that hard against it. I actually had Rublev and Medvedev much closer than Djokovic. So I even kind of had Djokovic in his own tier here, like a step below Rublev and Medvedev.
That being said, I give Djokovic a higher chance at the French than either of those guys. You don't?
Like, in terms of winning the tournament, yeah. But in terms of like what will their average performance be? No. Does that make sense? Like Djokovic's upside is higher because like he's obviously won a French, like he could be competitive with the top guys, whereas like I don't really think Rublev or Medvedev have much of a chance against Alcaraz on clay.
So you're saying
But
if Rublev or Medvedev play Djokovic in say quarterfinal or something, you would make one of them the favorite?
if Djokovic is playing, see, this is where it gets tough. It's all matches. I think Medvedev maybe yes. Rublev no. Right? Because like matchups matter, right? Like the Rublev Djokovic matchup is just so bad for Rublev.
Right. I agree with you.
But yeah, I mean, so getting back to Rublev, Rublev is 12-3 on clay this year. Won Monte Carlo, had the loss to Lajovic in Banja Luka, had the loss to Kachin in Madrid. But I didn't weight Madrid as high because it is at altitude. So I didn't weight that as much. And then he obviously lost the match to Hanfmann, right? But Hanfmann's been pretty good. Like, the way I looked at it is Hanfmann's been pretty good. And Lajovic has been he obviously won. That was a final, so Lajovic won that tournament. And then Hanfmann's been pretty good too. And even, I don't know. And like and catching up was at altitude. So I wasn't as worried about that. Medvedev is my issue with Medvedev is lack of quality wins. So Medvedev is 8-2 on clay this year, but who's his best win? Zverev? He has 2 wins over Zverev. That's his best win? Hanfmann? Like, I think Hanfmann's his best win, but like that's it. It's Hanfmann and 2 wins over Zverev. That's it.
Yeah, that was
the other guys he's beaten. Like Zapata's not impressive to me, especially given that matchup. Rusevori, Sonego, like.
And that was Tidbit's point in not hitting the 25-1 French Open futures.
And I agree with him. That's why I have him below Rublev, is because at least Rublev has big wins. Rublev won Monte Carlo. That's a Masters 1000 title. He beat he has a win over Fritz. He has a win over Kachin on slow clay. Kachin beat him in Madrid, but that's a different, it's different with the altitude.
I hear you, but I think I weigh Medvedev's mood and embracing the surface more than you. And I feel like he's gaining more and more comfortability on the surface by the match.
Look, if you're going to flip these guys, I don't hate it. Like, I think it's a really good, interesting debate, and I think it's really damn close. So, like, I don't like, and that's why I tiered these, is because I think I think like between Rublev and Medvedev, it's really, really close. And then I think Djokovic actually a step below them.
And Rublev, in terms of like ball striking, yes. But if you view everything else in terms of movement, if Medvedev feels comfortable on clay moving, he's clearly the better athlete, the better tactician.
But on a slow clay, the movement doesn't hurt him as much. And Rublev moves pretty well on the clay. Like, he knows how to move well on the clay. He moves better on clay than other surfaces, I think. More so where Medvedev, I think, moves better on hard courts. I think that, yeah, I mean, but like I said, it's really close. Like, it's really close. And I think you're right. If I could trust that Medvedev would really embrace the surface, I'd probably flip him. I just don't trust that yet. And we haven't seen a real win from Medvedev yet. Like, I'll back Tidbits' point on that. That was my thinking when I even put the rankings together. So like was just like, if your best win is this version of Zverev, that's not a great win.
But but how much do you like? I know we talked about this earlier in the clay court season, where we kind of weigh the surface a little bit too much, and we should talk about just more about who's a better tennis player. And if you're just weighing that, Medvedev is so much better than Rublev, right?
Ooh, I don't know, man. I mean, on anything that's not a fast hardcore, I don't know that I agree with that. Neither of them are very good on grass. I mean, Medvedev hasn't had Medvedev had good results on slow hard this year, but he hadn't been great at it before that. Rublev hadn't been either. Like, I don't know.
But I think any clay court, Medvedev is far superior. Not even a fast hard court.
All right. Interesting.
But
You mean any hard court?
any hard court, yeah.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. But I think on clay, like it's close. And
It's
if
way
you can
closer on clay.
Yeah.
I
And
just
if you can convince me that Medvedev is if you can convince me that Medvedev is fully going to be interested and not whine and not mentally go away for the whole match, I'd probably give him a slight edge. But like that, there's still, I mean, he still played a terrible first set against Zapata. So like, I don't know. I'm not yet quite yet convinced. And I like the Rublev. The Rublev quality of wins to me matter more than Rublev has wins over Rune, Fritz, and Kachinov, all at Monte Carlo to win that title. That's a pretty good run. He also has a win over Fokina, which I don't think is a bad win. I think those 4 wins are miles better than any win that Medvedev has in play. So I'm going to go with the strength of those wins, and that's why Rublev goes at number 4 for me.
Number 4. Okay. I'm weighing more. Yeah, I'm weighing more the just like overall tennis player tactics kind of.
Yeah.
The narrative that he's getting better on clay, feeling more comfortable than he's ever had. I think he's a better mover on this surface too, if he embraces it. So it's slight, but yeah, I get your point. It's a good discussion. It's a good discussion. And I have Djokovic at number 6 too. And I'm very like, we only disagree very, very slightly on the Medvedev Rublev order, but like other than that, we agree totally so far.
On the top 6, yeah, which is kind of crazy.
It is.
And Djokovic, like, he's been terrible, but I couldn't drop him any further than this because, like, in my mind, these are the 6 guys that could win the French, and these aren't French specific rankings, but these are the 6 guys that could win the French Open. I don't think anybody else has a chance.
I tend to agree with you. I'm taking Rublev out of that mix, though.
Ooh, okay.
But the other 5 guys, yes.
Okay. I actually think Rublev has a chance.
Okay.
I will hit an outright there if I get like 50-1 or better.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if I'm going to get that, but if I get like something, I mean, look, he was 40-1 going into Rome.
True.
So with best of 5 instead of best of 3, those don't expand out further, and you don't get more money on the favorite lines. And like, you have Djokovic in the tournament now with a tournament at his back, so maybe more people back him. You have more casual bettors, so people see the Djokovic name. I was hoping Nadal would play, but but he's not. So that money won't be on the table to give to other guys. But yeah. So I guess that kills tier 3. Moving to tier 4. So my name for this tier, it's a 2-player tier, and it's guys who can win on any given day, but guys who are too likely to lose to actually win to win anything. So these are 2 guys who can make like a quarter or semi run.
So you want me to guess?
Yeah.
Sinner and Ruud?
No. This is where I go a little nuts. This is where we're gonna be different. My number 7 is Kachinov.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It got really difficult at this point. It got really, really hard at this point, I will say, because like that's why I said like the end of tier 2 for me is the end of my guys who like are elite. Like after that, it gets really hard. So if you look at Kachinov, I'm gonna pull up his tennis abstract. Like, I guess where I'm going with this is like, all right, so Kachanov 6-4, so not a great record. Honestly, kind of spotty, but like he has a win over Rublev, and he was competitive with Alcaraz. Obviously, he had to play really well to do it, but he was competitive with Alcaraz. Beat Fokina. Like, it gets really hard at this point. If you look at, like, nobody else in my mind has had a great play season. And like, yeah, the results don't look great, but at least he's, like, been competitive with the top guys. And he's been, and he's, like, he has the ground game to stay with the top guys. It's hard to say he's the number 7 guy, but, like, I can't play anybody above him. And then my number 8.
It's really hard for me to put him that high just because of his loss to Barrere in Rome.
Barrere is terrible. Really I didn't mention it because it's so bad. Like, it's such a bad. That's just
loss
so bad.
To Evans in Barcelona was really bad.
So all right. I don't know if Evans. I don't think Evans is as bad. Evans is playing a little better now, so I'm not. I was downweighting that a little bit. I was just looking for guys who like have shown like he's shown a pulse.
He's shown a pulse all year.
Not a lot, but he's shown a
pulse. Australia. I mean, he's been good. I don't know.
Where do you have Kachanov? Is Kachanov in your top 20?
He's in my top 20, but he's not in my top 10.
Okay. And then number 8. Okay. The other guy in this tier is Fokina.
Wow. That high? How can you put him that high with all his tactical problems and, I don't know.
So again, it got really hard because like I couldn't put anybody else up here is really what happened. And like, I don't know, he beat Rune. I guess like that's a big part of it for me. Is like, all right, he's what is he this year on clay? Again, like the record's not great. He's 5-4, but he's got a win over like he's had tough matches. He's got a win over Etch, which is not great, but it's something. A win over Rusevorih. He played Alcaraz tight, beat Rune. Like he doesn't have any like losses that I look at and go, wow, that's horrible. Kachanov 2-2 is pretty bad, but that was not first clay match of the season, but like I guess Cecchinato is pretty bad. Like it feels like an overranking, but like I don't know, it got top 6 in the rest. Like I'm not saying Fokina has a chance to win the French Open. I'm just saying like he can be competitive with anyone on any given day.
So in my rankings, I have Kachanov and ADF like right next to each other as well.
But you have them down like 15 and 16?
No, they're just 11 and 12. They're not.
So we're not that far off. Then we're 4 spots off. You're 4.
Right.
So okay, so then that's a good segue into yours. So who do you have as 7, 8, and 9?
So my 7 and 8, I have Ruud and Sinner in that order.
Okay.
So Ruud, he does have a clay court title in Estoril, and the fact that he's gaining form in Rome, where the conditions are kind of, like I feel like he's better sea level, right? So we're talking non-altitude clay. I trust him physically more than Sinner, which is why I have him at 7 as opposed to 8. Sinner had a decent run in Monte Carlo, had some good wins there.
Yep.
So I put him, and just like his ball striking.
So who is Ruud's best win this year on clay? Baez 3 in love in Estoril. Baez has been terrible in Europe. VDZ 5-6 in Monte Carlo. That was not a pretty match. Shelton's as a rookie on clay. Is it Cerundolo in the quarters of Rome? That's probably his best clay win.
Probably that, yeah.
I mean, again, like he hasn't shown me anything that shows me he's anything remotely close to a contender. And I think like, I guess that's why I put Kachanov and ADF up there that high is because like, at least I think like, I don't like, again, like in terms of like consistently winning against top guys, it's only those top 6. There's a massive gap. Mm-hmm. Like, and Kachanov and ADF could lose to anyone, but so can any of these guys after this. And like, at least Kachinov and ADF have big wins, and I think can beat anyone if they're playing well. I mean, I guess Ruud showed last year that he can, but like that's a long time ago. Like Ruud has not done anything this year to show that he can beat top guys. Like even go to hard court. Like who's his best win on the year in total? It's Cerundolo. It's the match he just won.
Yeah.
Cerundolo.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you with the insane drop off from from Djokovic downwards. I mean, from number 6 downwards, but I don't know. I like what I'm seeing from Ruud this week is probably what I'm saying. So maybe it's a little bit of a prisoner of the moment kind of statement. I also think he has just more clay upside than the other guys, than Kachinov or Fokina. And like I don't trust Fokina's just the decision making is just so poor.
I guess like in terms of winning a tournament, maybe, but like in like or not winning tournament, like I don't know though. I don't know because I don't trust Ruud to beat like I trust him to beat like not good guys, but I don't trust him to be like I don't know, man. I mean,
if Ruud had to play Kachinov or Fokina right now on a sea level clay court, would you favor either of those guys against Ruud?
Yeah, I think so. I think I would favor Kachinov for sure. Fokina, it's close. So Ruud is number 9 on my rankings. He's a tier below, but
Okay.
Ruud is number 9 on my rankings. I think I'd favor Fokina as well, but like maybe not. Like Fokina could completely choke that match away too. It's so hard to ever favor Fokina against anybody because he like the choke is always in play.
Just
but
the
so is like
fact
the
that
brilliant
in
comeback.
play so often with Fokina just puts him down on the list. Just that like.
But at least he can beat
of
top
information.
guys. Like, can Rune beat anybody in the top 6 right now? No chance.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Fokina has better upside, but Ruud has a better chance of winning a tournament.
I don't know he's a better chance of winning a tournament because like it has to be a 250 where nobody else shows up. Like, I mean, honestly, like he's yeah. So and he lost to Struff in Monte Carlo. Like,
yeah,
that's not good. And granted, like I don't know, like the only thing that can make you back Ruud is this week. So you had but Ruud was your 7. Who was your 8? Sinner. Yeah, so we'll get into Sinner when we're getting close to him in my rankings.
Okay. So you have Kachinov 7, Fokina 8.
Yeah.
At the end of that 4th tier.
That's the end of that 4th tier, yeah.
Okay. All right. He's in tier 5.
This 5th tier is guys who I didn't know where to put them, so I put them here.
Okay.
Number 9 is Casper Ruud.
Okay.
We talked about Ruud, so he's not that far below you, right? You have him at 7, I have him at 9. So like I agree with most of what you're saying. It's mostly based on Rome. It's based on this week, and then like just the general like clay court skill he's shown. He does have a 250 title. Like that was a decent. He had some, I mean, Baez is a decent win, but again, it's just like the lack of like top tier wins is what keeps me off him, and the loss to Struff.
Right. Okay.
And then number 10, this guy may not even be in your list. I'm really interested to hear about this. Yannick Hanfmann.
Whoa.
So blind resume, Hanfmann.
He's on my list. But he's further down.
23-9. Because he played the Golden Swing. But on the European clay, or since, I guess, you have a bad loss in the Mexico City Challenger to Vera, but we have a semis in Houston. We have a loss to Rune in Munich, 2nd round, but he lost to Rune. He got hurt against Altmaier, and that's why he lost that match. He was injured. And now we've got a quarter. He made a quarter against in Rome and lost to Medvedev. He's got wins over Rublev, Fritz, Musetti, and Tommy Paul, who's not going on clay, but still it's a top 20 win. That's 4 top 20 wins, 3 of which are top 20 on clay wins. And the only losses are Etch in Houston in a semi, Rune in Munich in a round of 16, and Medvedev now in the quarters. Granted, he got smoked by Medvedev, but like that's a pretty darn good resume. Like you stacked up that blind resume, against the guys who were going to put 11 to 20, and it stacks up really nicely.
It does, and I have him in my top 20 as well. I just I think he has movement issues.
Oh, he does. He has flaws, no doubt. But he moves better on the clay than other surfaces. A slower clay, right? This is not a non-altitude clay, allows him to get away with that movement a little more. He can kind of work around it a little bit more.
I'm just surprised you have him ahead of Sinner, for example, or even Struff, who made a final of Madrid.
So I'm downweighting that because he got really lucky in a lot of his matches, and Madrid is such a weird tournament with the altitude. Again, we're assuming this is a non-altitude clay.
Okay. All right.
So who are your 9 and 10?
So my 9 is Borna Coric.
Okay.
All right. And my number 10 is Cerundolo.
Okay. So you're now starting to dig pretty deep too. So you see what I'm saying? I mean, we're on the same page. It gets really hard.
It does.
The drop off is insane.
Drop off is insane.
Yeah.
So Cerundolo, I was extremely and exceptionally impressed by those sets 2 and 3 against Sinner in Rome. That was incredible tennis to win 2-2. I mean, that was incredible stuff that he pulled off. So I'm not only basing this on obviously I have to base it on results, but I saw some significant upside. And if he can replicate that level, that's top 10 clay court stuff, in my opinion. I like that. He does have some bad losses in there. The loss to Evans is not good. The loss to Cachin isn't great either. Close against Ruud. And I think this is Ruud's preferred clay court in Rome. He loves these conditions.
Yeah.
Right? He beat Ruud in Barcelona. He beat Norrie in Monte Carlo, which doesn't really say much.
Yeah.
I'm basing that number 10 ranking 80% on those that Sinner set 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So
I had Cerundolo on my next tier.
Okay.
And it's just because again, if you just blind resume stack Sinner or Cerundolo against Hanfmann, Cerundolo's 6-4 on this European swing, or 6 and 4. He's got a loss to Berrettini. He's got some bad losses in there. The only wins you've got are you got 2 wins against Ruud, or you got a win against Ruud in Barcelona, and you got a win against Sinner. But you stacked it off against losses against Cachin and Berrettini, or not Berrettini. You stacked off against losses against Cachin and Berrettini, and I wasn't as impressed. I think it really depends on how much you weight those last 2 sets versus Sinner. Sinner's a good win too. I should have mentioned that too. Sinner's another good win. So Sinner and Ruud are the 2 big wins for him. I mean, I get it. I think it gets really hard. Sinner's in my next tier.
So you have Sinner 11?
No, I'm saying so. Actually, Sinner and Cerundolo. So my next tier is 5 deep, and these guys are all really close.
Okay.
Tiafoe, Musetti, Sinner, Cerundolo, Fritz is my 11 to 15, and they're all in the same tier.
So Tiafoe's 11?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's 12?
I guess I'll go Sinner.
Sinner 12. Okay.
Yeah. Musetti's 13.
Okay.
Cerundolo's 14. Fritz is 15. But all these guys to me are really equal. So which one of those are those guys not in your top 20 at all?
Tiafoe.
Okay. So I hear you on that. In that I originally didn't put him in, but then
You raised him all the way up to 11? Ahead of Sinner? Ahead of Cerundolo?
yeah, this is a bad ranking. I gotta drop Foe. I gotta drop Foe. I liked the I mean he did win Houston, that's why I had him up because at least he won a tournament. But I gotta drop him. Yeah, I'm gonna revise this. I'm gonna drop him to 15.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go Musetti 11, Sinner 12, Cerundolo 13, Fritz 14, Tiafoe 15. But like it's really like I don't know. I think this 11 through 15 is all pretty close. And this tier to me is like the good players, but this isn't their best like good players, but this isn't their best surface tier. And Cerundolo just happens to fit in here. This probably is his best surface, although he's pretty good on slow hard as well. But like he just happens to tier well with these guys. But like, yeah. So you don't have Tiafoe in your top 20 at all.
No.
For me, it just got like Tiafoe, he's a decent tennis player. And like I wasn't as worried about the loss to Cachin because it came with altitude. So then you're looking at, and Cachin did make a decent run. So then his 2 losses on clay, if you take those out, are Ruusuvuori in Barcelona and Musetti in a tough resetter in Rome at Musetti's home in good conditions for Musetti. And if you look, he did, I mean, but yeah, he's completely missing top tier wins. He doesn't have a single top 50 win on clay this year. Like, I get it. Like,
I just think you're overweighing Musetti. Like I also think you're overranking Musetti.
okay.
I don't think he's that good. Plus, I think he has a lot of physical issues. I don't know. Like
So I'm kind of putting
I feel like he
I'm
was
putting
significantly outplayed. Like he was really outplayed by Tsitsipas in that Rome match. And I think he just used the home crowd to his advantage and was able to squeak out 5 games in each set. But like, also heading into Roland Garros, like the fact, his retirement problem kind of creeps in my mind. I don't know. Like I'm not that high on Musetti.
So I hear you. Musetti since Marrakech, because before that he was terrible. Like before that he couldn't win a match against anybody.
Right.
He was losing every match 2-2. And I'm convinced he was hurt because that's the only potential explanation in my mind. Since Marrakech, he's 8-4 on clay. The 4 losses are Sinner, Tsitsipas in 3 sets. Sinner, he got crushed. Hanfmann, 4-6 in Madrid. Again, altitude, not a really good service from Musetti anyways. And Hanfmann's been decent regardless. And then Tsitsipas in again, like score, I agree with you. Like Tsitsipas was the better player. But 5-5. Like I get it. Like that's probably a good court for Musetti. Yada yada. Fine. He has wins over Sinner in Barcelona. Sorry, that's a walkover. But he's got wins over Tiafoe, Djokovic, and Kecmanovic since then. Kecmanovic is not an amazing win, but it's like a decent win. It's better than like once you get to this tier, none of these guys have great wins. It's just like a really nasty tier. So yeah, like I don't know. I think it's like at least he's able to beat guys. Like he's beating the guys he should beat. Like yeah, I agree with you. It's not overly impressive, but he's beating the guys he should beat. He did beat Tiafoe. I get it. It's at home, yada yada. But and then like the losses versus Tsitsipas were like competitive, and Tsitsipas is the number 2 guy. We both agreed on that, or number 3. Sorry, we both agreed he's number 3 guy. Rune's the number 2. But like two like decently close losses against the number 3 guy to me isn't terrible. So like I don't know. I have a really hard time putting him lower than this.
Maybe I slightly underrated him in terms of just pure clay court ratings, but I have to say, if we have to talk about French Open power rankings, when you talk about best of 5, he might be out of my top 20.
Yeah, he drops. He tanks when you come from.
Yeah.
But like so does Sinner, right? Because then you got to worry about the injury issues there.
Sinner, not as much, just because of his insane ball striking. And he has the capability of winning matches easier than Musetti, right? So he can win straight
Yeah.
set matches, whereas Musetti
Yeah.
really can't.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know,
I'm gonna
so
leave him there. Where did I put him? I put him at 12. Did I put him at 12 or
you
11?
put Musetti at 11, you put Sinner at 12.
Yeah. So I'm surprised I had Sinner this low too. But so my issues with Sinner are, we talked about this ad nauseum, but like if it gets late into a tournament, like you just don't know. And then like if you look at Sinner this year on the clay, like he killed Musetti, got a win over Hurkacz. Like Sinner in Monte Carlo was pretty good.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, man. Like, I guess I'm probably underrating Sinner. I probably should have Sinner. I'm gonna revise this again. I'm gonna make another revision. I'm gonna move Sinner ahead of Musetti. Sinner's gonna move up to 11.
Okay. I think you have to do that.
Yeah, as I look at this, I think I have to also. So I'm
Sinner
gonna put
also
Sinner
beat
at 11.
Musetti on clay 2-2.
Yeah,
So you have to.
yeah. And it was in Barcelona. So no, it wasn't in Barcelona. It was in
Monte Carlo.
Monte Carlo. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna So I'm gonna move Sinner up to 11.
Okay. But ahead of Hanfmann?
You mean Hanfmann's ahead of Sinner?
Yeah, Hanfmann ahead of Sinner? Really?
Yeah, he's in my mind, he's a tier above. I think that like blind resume, Hanfmann's been better.
Okay.
And it's also I'll say it over and over again, like the concern with Sinner is like you don't know if he's gonna make it to a tournament. Like if you look this year, and this is my real issue with Sinner. So this year he is 28. He has lost in 9 tournaments. 2 of those are walkovers, and 2 of those are matched in Medvedev where he just gassed out. So like, there's always a chance with him that he's either gonna get walked over, or he's gonna get injured, or he's gonna run out of gas. And the Medvedev match, frankly, I think it was the second one, Indian Wells, was at Miami. I can't remember which tournament. They're too similar, but it must have been Miami because Alcaraz won at Indian Wells.
Well, someone brought up on Twitter that actually Sinner has a lot of viral illnesses, which is like a cause for concern in his career. Like,
so I didn't see that. Who was that?
I don't remember who it was,
Yeah.
but I did see it, and that was a good point. Because I remember like last year I think, didn't he withdraw at the French Open last year when he played Rublev to a viral illness?
Yeah, he retired in like the third set. It was like 1-1. He retired in the third set. Like
something like that. Yeah.
It's just like, honestly, like in any given tournament, I honestly think like it's not realistic to say there's a 35%, 30% chance, 35% chance that something is going to happen to him.
Yeah.
And so that's why I put him at 11.
Okay.
Like a full Sinner would probably go one more where you put him, but like it's too much of a chance he like.
Yeah, I just think the talent, the ball striking, just all of that, just to me puts him at 8. And initially, I had him above Ruud, and I had to put Ruud ahead of him just because of that fact.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it depends on how much you weight, like the chance that Sinner's going to not be able to make it to a tournament. But
right. Okay.
Yeah, then I got Musetti there. Cerundolo I have a little lower than you, but what?
Yeah, we have him pretty close.
It's pretty similar, honestly. Like it gets tough to rank at this point. And then, yeah, I mean, Foe, I get it. I understand why you'd say that. Just like you look at like the guys below him, and I just like it gets really hard. It's absolutely desolate after like so. There's another massive drop off after this in my mind after Tiafoe and Fritz. So Tiafoe's 14 and Fritz is 15 to me, and then there's another complete cliff. So there's like a massive cliff after 6, and there's another massive cliff after 15.
Who's in your next tier? Who's in your tier 7?
So who's your 11 to 15?
My 11 through 15 is Kachanov at 11.
Yeah, Fokina at 12.
Fokina at 12. Struff at 13. Hanfmann at 14. And Zverev at 15.
Okay. So I don't have Struff in my top 20 at all, and nor do I as Zverev. If you look at Struff, like, what do you have outside of Madrid?
Quarterfinal run in Monte Carlo.
Okay, here's the guys. But like, who's the guy he's beaten outside of that? He beat de Minaur, Ruud. Like, Ruud wasn't playing well then. I guess he'd come off Estoril, so that's a decent win. Ruud is a decent win. But you've got losses to Hugo Gaston. You've got a loss to Alexander Richard.
That's such a
You've now got a loss to Etcheverry in the Bordeaux Challenger. What'd you say?
That's such a long time ago, the Gaston loss.
Okay, you have Richard in Munich. Richard in his home tournament.
It's a bad one. Okay. All of these guys have some bad losses, though.
Nobody has one as bad as Richard. We haven't mentioned anybody yet that has a bad loss anywhere.
Okay, all right, but Arnaldi losing to Ruud, or beating Ruud in Madrid, that's not a bad loss.
I don't think it's nearly as bad as losing to Richard. Arnaldi's more of a clay guy who has who's actually a pretty good prospect. It was in I don't know. Yeah. I think I hear you. I see the point. He's in my honorable mention. He was somewhere
honestly, to me, I like Struff's Monte Carlo run more than his Madrid run. To beat Varias, Rusevori, and then
Varias is another. I mean, Varias is a decent clay guy, but he's like somewhere between like 70 and 100. Ramos sucks.
It's
de Minaur sucks.
Yeah, okay, but de Minaur, like destroying him 3-2 is decent.
Decent. It's decent.
Ruud, I mean, basically took him to the woodshed in the first set, and then second set was close. Played Rublev tough. I mean, and then like the Madrid run, it's not like okay, all right.
Look at the list of names there that he beat. It's Tsitsipas where he got lucky. He got outplayed in half those matches, especially the Tsitsipas one.
Okay, but then
outside of that, who did he beat?
How about nearly beating Alcaraz? Like playing Alcaraz that tough? That's impressive.
That was good. That was impressive.
That's worth just playing Alcaraz that tough is worth more than like 70% of his wins. And no one has played Alcaraz that tough. This entire clay court swing. No one. Who's played Alcaraz that tough?
Maroszan beat him.
Okay, all right. Besides Maroszan, I mean, he's not in my top 20.
So I discounted that match because I discounted the Madrid run because of the altitude. So if you heavily discount that, you're then left with the Monte Carlo run. Again, like not terrible. I probably should have Struff in my top 20. I probably should. I'm gonna add him. I'm gonna put him in. Well, I did 22. I'm gonna make it 23. And I'm gonna put Struff.
I have some honorable mentions too, so
I'm gonna take him out of my honorable mentions and put him into my top. I'm gonna put him in at 22.
Okay.
So who was 11 to 15 again?
I have Hanfmann at 14 after Struff for most of the reasons you mentioned, and then I have Zverev at 15. Well, I'm thinking
okay, so Zverev has been terrible. I don't have Zverev is also in my like between 20 and 30 list. It's not even honorable mention because like I expect more from him.
I can't believe I have Zverev higher than you.
So I had Zverev higher, but then I looked at the results, right? Here's the clay results. beats Bublik in 3 sets, RBA in 2, chokes against Medvedev, gets beaten straight sets by O'Connell, beats Baena in 3, whips Hugo Grenier, loses to Alcaraz,
A 1
beats Goffin in 3, and beats Wolf. Does that sound like a top 20 guy to you? That's nowhere near.
No.
Like, it's just based, if you're putting him there, it's just based on name. And based on results that are pre-injury. Like, there's just nothing, like, he's shown, even on the hard courts, he really didn't show that much. Like, what's his best win this year, period? Like, RBA? Bublik?
All right, so I'm curious to see your 16 through 20 because I want to see if I can argue about putting Zverev higher than any of those guys.
All right.
All right.
So this is my last tier, which is Manny made me rank 20 guys, so I ranked them. But like, none of these guys should be anywhere near a top 20. It's just a disaster.
Okay. All right.
So number 16 is Coric. He's shown, like, he obviously, I didn't rank him above anybody else, and he has shown a pulse. Like, obviously, he made the quarters here in Rome. Like, he had the good run in Madrid. Like, but he had been so bad before that, and like, I still don't think he has any like top tier wins. Does he? Where's Coric on your list?
He's 9. I have him high.
And I think so. My argument against Coric here is like, look at who's his best win on clay? Hubie? Fokina in a weird match where Fokina choked? And like, if you're gonna base it, if you're gonna put him at 9, it's based on Madrid, which is altitude. And we agree this is a non-altitude ranking.
I like that he backed up a good result with another good result, and that gives me confidence in him. And
so a good result. So okay, but a good result is beating Montero in a 3.5 hour match, beating RCB, beating Maroszan in a 3-set match.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, but these guys are so evenly matched, and the like guys that are ranked quite high, the gap is smaller and smaller now. Like, besides those top 6 that we mentioned who are head and shoulders above, like, everyone else is kind of the same.
It depends how you weight Madrid. Like, I heavily downweighted Madrid, and based on that, because of the altitude, and then like based on that, I can't put him in the top 10. Like, this is the highest I can put him. And like, again, like, it just gets so bad that at least he's showing a pulse. But like, unless you like the only way you can, and like, Madrid plays up to Coric because he's got a good serve. He's got like a game that suits Madrid well. So like, if you're playing this,
I watched the match against Alcaraz, and I thought he played quite well there, and I think like it was actually closer than the score indicated.
Again, I downweighted because of the altitude. Like, this all depends on how much you're weighting in Madrid. Because if you weight in Madrid, then yeah, because then you get those wins. Those, like, I'm heavily downweighting the Hurkacz and ADF wins, and if you do that, then yeah, of course, there's nothing left. If you weight Madrid like any other clay court tournament, then it looks decent. So it all depends on how you weight Madrid. For me, 17 is Nadal. It gets so bad at this point that like if Nadal, like, yeah, like if he shows up, he shows up at the French on Tuesday morning, and he doesn't have to be in the draw. He can show up at the French Tuesday at the 6 o'clock French time, walk on a court, kick a guy out, and they'll put him in the tournament. He's Nadal. Like, it doesn't matter. And there's more of a chance of him doing that than there's a chance of any of these other guys making a deep run.
Sadly, you're kind of right, but I mean, I didn't put Nadal in the rankings just because he's not playing at the moment.
It's kind of a joke, and that's why I added more than 20 guys, because but it got so bad that I've literally even if Nadal hasn't picked up a racket in 4 months,
yeah,
and walks off without one limb, walks on the court Tuesday the first Tuesday the French and boots off some guy off an outer court and says, I'm playing. And they let him in the tournament. Like, I'm pretty sure I would back him over any of these guys.
I might have to actually put him in the tier higher than that. Like seriously. All right, who's after that?
This is a crazy one. 18 for me is Evans.
Whoa. Okay.
He's played a little better recently. Like, honestly, this isn't even talking about Evans. It's just like, it's how decrepit this tier is. And like, yeah, I get it. Like, it's not good, but like, at least he beat Cerundolo and Kachin in Barcelona. Like, at least that's a pulse. Like, these are, I mean, like, at least this tier is awful. Like, and I just like, I don't know. Like, I couldn't, like, I tried to look at anybody outside this who I could put above, and I couldn't find anybody who I liked any better. So Evans is 18.
Okay.
Kecmanovic is 19. And it's kind of the same story. Like, I mean, I'm going to say this about every single guy in this tier. Like,
all right, who's your 20?
20 is Garin. At least Garin has like has a collection of wins, even if none of them are any good, as John Reed likes to say, as Tidbits likes to say. But like, at least like you can only play the guys in front of you, and like at some point, like that's better than anything. I mean, to go back to Lehechka, like, or not Lehechka, like Kecmanovic, at least he made the finals of a 250.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's a run. He beat Zapata. Like, he beat Lehechka. Like, it's not good. I agree. Like, at least most of his losses are close. Like, it's just really hard. Like this 15 through 20. Garin has a collection of wins. I agree. None of them are any good, but at least he's beaten a few people, which is more than I can say about a lot of these other guys. Hubie's been terrible. So Hubie's 21. Like, Hubie's been terrible, but like at least he's like,
Hubie's not even in my top 20.
Yeah, again, like I don't like it's, I don't think there's much of a difference between 21 and like, and then Rusevori is 22.
Okay.
Actually, I lie. Struff is 22. Rusevori is 23.
Who was 21 again? Hubie?
Yeah, Hubie was 21. Struff 22. Rusevori 23. I probably should even pump. You know what? I'm gonna move Struff all the way up. I'm not gonna move all the way up. I'm gonna move him up to 18. I'm gonna put him above Kecmanovic. Well, it's close.
How about
I'm gonna slot him at 19. I'm gonna slot Struff at 19. What?
Etcheverry.
No, Etcheverry hasn't done anything since Houston
He just beat Struff today.
in a challenger.
Yeah. It's not the same.
It's not. Maybe it is for him. Like, but like it's tough. Like, it's really tough. Like, I just like for Etch, like, I don't know, man. For Etch, like, it's really hard to. And even in Houston, like, he beat Hanfmann and he beat Garin, which are decent wins, I guess. Like, but those are the, I don't know, like, he lost to Tiafoe, who's not in your top 20 twice, once in Madrid, once at Houston. Lost to Fokina. Like, his wins in Europe are Andujar, Manarino, Medvedev, Van Ash, and now he's got this nice little Bordeaux Challenger run. So, like, I guess it depends on how much you like this little Bordeaux Challenger run. But, like, even that run is Ivashka, Arthur Cazot, ARV, and Struff. So you really have to like that Struff win. There's just nothing else on, like, there's nothing else since Houston. Like, again, Houston's a weird surface too, right? So, like, I put those guys ahead of him.
So for me, I have Hanfmann 14. I have Zverev 15, but after your points on Zverev, I'm probably going to move him down. After that, I have Musetti at 16. I have Fritz at 17. I have Lajovic at 18. just because he won that title in Banja Luka, I feel like you have to
See, for me, that's his home tournament, and like that was kind of like the dream. Everything came together, and since then he hasn't been great. But he was in my honorable mentions.
Okay. All right. And then 19 I have Hubie. And just because of his serve and like the fact that but the fact that he lost
Like you just run out of guys at some point, right? Like at least Hubie has a pulse. Like there's like something like, you know.
And 20 I have Baez.
So Baez is horrendous in Europe.
He was, but the 3 sets against Tsitsipas in Madrid. I know you're not weighing that too much.
Yeah.
But as you said, you just run out of guys, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe
yeah,
maybe I might put Green there instead of Baez. I think Green is a better choice, actually. Come to think of it. You know what? I think I'm gonna put Green there at 20.
Yeah. I just didn't like I with Baez, I couldn't stand the Estoril loss to Ruud because I got burned on that.
Yeah,
The Draper loss, I got burned betting on that. I got burned betting on Adi on Oat against Oat.
yeah.
Like the wins in Europe are Radu Albat, Cachin for Baez, Yaron, and Varias.
Yeah. All right. An honorable mention that I had that probably you didn't even think about, and it might surprise you, is Popperin. I was actually very close to putting him in my top 20.
I looked at Popperin. He's been better than you think, but
he nearly beat Holger Rune, who's our number 2 on this list. Really good run in Rome. O'Connell, who
again, my problem is here is like, who's the win? Like, what win do you like of Popperin's wins?
I like the FAA win, even though like FAA has been terrible and only played 2 matches on clay all year.
Yeah, so I didn't because FA's been terrible. Greek Sport hasn't been good on clay. He should be better. I don't know why he isn't, but he's been bad on clay. So like, what else? Like Lajovic and Monte Carlo, I guess is a decent.
But look at his losses. All of his losses are tight 3 setters. It's not like he's losing easily.
I know.
You know?
I know. But like, yeah.
Like if he was losing 1 and 3 to those guys, okay. But he's losing 6-4 in the third to Halis, losing 7-5 in the third to Molchan, even though loss to Rune was 4 in the third.
Yeah.
You know, like that's impressive to me.
He's a really good over 12.5 guy.
He is. He is. But I mean, he's a guy I thought about, you know, like
I looked at him. He's been better than like his ranking of 77. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But
like
I don't know
if he's QB right now on a clay court, I'd probably favor Popperin. Slightly.
So my surprise honorable mention that I almost put in was Cecchinato.
Ooh, I like that.
He's been pretty good for a guy who you hate. He's been pretty good.
Pretty good.
Again, like nothing impressive other than like the best win is the win over Fokina, but like he's been 8-3 on the ATP tour on clay, you know, in Europe. You know, lost there to Kecmanovic, Demonor, and Hanfmann. Like I said, he didn't end up making my top 20, but he was somebody who was in like my honorable mentions, kind of a surprise.
Yeah.
All right.
Zverev is, so where is Zverev on your list?
He's not in my top 20 too. I guess he's honorable mention. Maybe he's not. Yeah, he's honorable mention. He's somewhere in like the low 20s. He's just been so bad. Like if you take away the name Alexander Zverev, there's nothing there that indicates he's been good. And I guess you have a set. You have like at times he's looked like competent against big guys, right? Like if he's playing against a big guy, like a top 10 guy, like he's shown you that like not that he could win the match, but like there's more upside, I agree with him, than these other guys. But like if you blind resume him, like if he's not Alexander Zverev, if he's some random dude who beat Bublik, Agut, Baena, Grenier, Goffin, and Wolf, and lost to Medvedev twice, Alcaraz, and O'Connell, you wouldn't call that a top 20 guy. You'd probably put that somewhere in like the 30s.
Right. And like Coric, Struff, they all played Alcaraz tough, whereas Zverev lost him 1 and 2. You know?
It's not just that. Like, for me, it's like at least they showed a pulse. Like, at least Coric's runs in Rome and Madrid like show a pulse. You know, like
Right.
Zverev, he can't win more than a couple matches in a row because, yeah, he just doesn't like he hasn't.
Yeah.
Just not.
Yeah. No, you're
Like,
right.
I think like again, if he didn't have the name Zverev, and like if he didn't have the great backhand, like that forehand looks awful.
It does. It really
The
does.
only way he can win matches right now is if he serves his butt off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like the forehand just looks awful.
Yeah.
So,
I would agree with that. I mean, I've been fading Zverev all year, and I feel like you kind of got off of it and you thought he was playing better, and like I felt like I kind of talked you into he's playing terribly, and now you're talking me into like, oh, he's playing like shit. So
yeah, the
funny.
optics on Zverev, well, because like he's played a few close matches, which like it's because like the upside's there, so you're waiting for him. You're waiting for him to show a pulse, and then he loses a tough 3 second. Like okay, like the pulse is back, but then like you look at the overall kind of sum of the resume, and it's just awful.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Yeah. Yeah. So
I
I'm
mean, he's
moving.
an ATP player, right? Like it's not like
Yeah.
he's not like he's top 50 for sure, but like he's somewhere like the low 20s.
I'm moving him down from 15 to 20. So
Yeah.
So my top 20 is Alcaraz 1, Rune 2, Tsitsipas 3, Medvedev 4, Rublev 5, Djokovic 6, Ruud 7, Sinner 8, Coric 9, Cerundolo 10, Kachinov 11, Fokina 12, Strupp 13, Hanfmann 14, Musetti 15, Fritz 16, Lajovic 17, Hubie 18, Garin 19, Zverev 20, with my honorable mentions being Popperin, Tiafo, Etcheverry, and I'll put Cecchinato in there as well. So
Yeah. So for me, it's Alcaraz, Rune, Rublev, Alcaraz, Rune, Tsitsipas. We agreed on those.
Yep.
We flipped Rublev and Medvedev.
Yep.
I moved Kachinov and ADF higher than you based on their upside.
Oh, yeah, Djokovic 6, right? I think he was.
Yeah. I then put Ruud, and I'm going to leave Hanfmann there at 10.
Okay.
I moved Sinner up to 11. So where did you have Sinner? 8?
I am at 8, yeah.
So we're not that different.
Yeah.
I put Musetti at 12. Did you have Musetti? Where'd you have Musetti?
15.
So again, like only 3 spots difference. It's really not that different. Cerundolo 13.
Yep.
You had Cerundolo 10, right?
Yep.
Bo at 14.
Mm-hmm.
Who's not even in your honorable mentions list. So that's probably one big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Fritz at 15. Where'd you have Fritz?
16.
So we've been pretty close.
I like
Coric at 16.
I like that we both had Hanfmann over Fritz just because he destroyed him in Rome.
Yeah.
Like I think
he had a better run
with Fritz over Hanfmann after that loss.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and Fritz, honestly, like all he has is that Monte Carlo run where he beat, and really the only impressive thing about that was beating Tsitsipas.
Right. Right.
So for me, Coric is 16. Nadal is 17.
Nadal is 17.
I'm going to leave Evans at 18. even though he hasn't been good, I'm going to leave him there. Struff at 19. Kecmanovic at 20. Garin 21. Hurkacz 22. Ruusuvuori 23. Cecchinato gets an HM. Poppy gets an HM. Zverev gets I guess, an honorable mention. Dishonorable mention. Etch gets an honorable mention.
All right.
And that's it.
Good list.
I guess Zapata gets an honorable mention for me. Like, he hasn't been that good, but like
okay.
At some point you run out of guys.
I'm sure he's in your wordplay segment.
Yeah.
Let's just throw this out there. Let's start with we're going to transition into that segment.
Yeah, so wordplay time.
My Zapata, let me do my Zapata word.
All right.
One-dimensional. That's the best way to describe him, because I like him a lot as a player, good competitor, but as soon as some guys get balls back or like hit balls short or something, he gets totally lost. Like he has.
Well, this is what you and I actually brought this up to you a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
The problem with him is, it was really interesting because the Bet Rivers podcast, Sean Calvert, I think it was, said that Zapata's problem is he has no weapons. Yeah. I completely disagree. Like, I think his takes are usually really, really good, but I disagree on that. I think he actually does have ground stroke weapons. His problem is that he can't move out of the corner specifically. Yeah. He's okay. Like, as soon as he has to get like into a weird position on the court, he has no chance.
I tend to agree with you, actually. I think he has very good ground strokes, especially on a clay court. Yeah.
But it's just side to side hitting ground strokes. That's it.
Right.
Like, as soon as he has to move at angles, he can't do it.
Exactly. Or come in or do anything other than just blast ground strokes from the baseline.
Yeah. His service is okay, not great. Like, but it's basically just ball blasting off the baseline.
Yeah.
I do think he's a competitor. He's trying to get better, at least understanding that thing, and like trying to take away time, at least that way he can blast more balls for winners. Yeah. I've seen that improvement in his game.
Yeah.
I think Tidbits brought that up, so I'll credit him there. So that's my first one. My next one is Jiří Lehečka.
Ooh. My word to describe him is overrated.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to see what you're going to say, because he's been awful. He's been awful on the clay, which I thought would be a better surface for him than hard. But since Australia, he really hasn't been good.
So I pointed this out on the Twitter when I think he played Maroszan, and I actually bet Maroszan to win that match.
Yeah.
Because what I saw from Lechka is like he's been losing a lot of easy sets, like 6-1 sets, 6 love sets, 6-2 sets.
His last 4 matches that he's lost, his last 4 losses have all included a breadstick or bagel set loss. He got breadstick by Tiafoe at Monte Carlo. He got bagel by Kecmanovic at Banja Luka. Got double breadstick by Shevchenko. That's terrible.
That's terrible. Yeah.
And got breadstick by Maroszan in the second set of Rome. He interestingly he had to retire in the first round of the Turin Challenger, which I'm not sure what that was about. But yeah, I mean, man, I was high on him after Australian Open, and like he has really dropped since then. Like, I don't even know, like he actually had a pretty good run in Doha after that. He made the semis. Yeah. And it seems like ever since that missed volley to lose that match in Doha which is like one of the all-time worst volleys ever. Yeah, like, what's worse, that or the Montero volley?
Ooh, I think the Lechka one was.
I think so too. But those are like 2 of the worst volleys I've ever seen in a clutch moment. Like I'll never forget those 2 volleys. Like.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. After that botched volley, I mean, he's been pretty bad.
I mean, I guess like Monte Carlo was kind of okay. He made the round of 16 there, and he beat Dimitrov and Ruusuvuori. But
yeah, Monte Carlo's all right. I mean, but Fritz, he totally went away after that second set, losing 6-1. So I just think, like, I'm not like necessarily saying that he's overrated as a player. I just like I still think he has upside. I just think we overrated him after Australia. Like, he wasn't that good. He wasn't that guy. You know? Obviously he had a great run there. It's just I don't know.
The interesting thing is he had a really good run through the whole Australian season. So, like, he lost a tough match, round of 16 match to Norrie. We ended up beating Australia. But that was his loss in Auckland. I guess that was the only other tournament he played. He beat, I guess we're not excited about him beating Zverev in United Cup.
No, we're not. Well, we won a lot of money off of that.
What?
We won a lot of money. I think he was like 5.5 to 1.
550 or something insane.
That was amazing.
Because Zverev had done well in exos. That's another thing. Like, these exos tell you nothing.
Right. Nothing.
And practice sets are also meaningless.
Yeah.
Like, maybe they tell you a guy's healthy, but that's it.
Yeah.
All right, next guy.
Okay.
Tommy Paul.
Sucks on clay.
I agree. And you just can't play on clay. I agree.
Yeah.
That's all has to be said
Hard
there.
sucks on clay.
Yeah.
Next guy.
Shelton.
Inexperienced.
On clay, especially.
Yeah.
Overall, but on clay, especially. And I think that shows in his tactics.
It does.
Like, he still, he still really isn't able to rally. He still doesn't really have the rally tolerance. Like, he's got a ways to go, but he's good.
Getting better. Actually, like, he started worse on clay this clay court season, and he's gotten better.
Yep.
So it's just inexperience. Like, I like his upside. I think he has more talent and more promise on clay than, say, a Tommy Paul, for example. But he just doesn't know what to do yet. So.
Chapo.
Just garbage.
I just wanted to see what word you would say. Honestly, for that, I don't even care about the tennis analysis of it. I just did it for the lulz.
Another word to describe him? Adderall. I honestly think he needs Adderall. Like, I don't know if he's on it already, but like, I feel like he has ADHD on the tennis court.
Yeah.
Like, it's really bad. It's really bad. Like Bublik gets bored during a rally. We'll hit a drop shot, but like, I prefer his version of getting bored than Chapo's.
Oh, there's a lot of guys who are bad tactically, right? Like, Fokina is bad tactically. Exactly. Zhang is bad tactically. Like, we talk about like 5 guys on this pod already who are bad tactically. I prefer any of those bad tactics to Chapo, which is just like,
I know.
Like, because you're like, there's no discipline. It's not even tactics. It's just pure. It's just pure discipline. Yeah. It's not even tactics.
Right. You think Bublik has better discipline than Chapo?
Yeah. I mean, not by much, but a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Bublik also doesn't have discipline, but like,
right.
But with Bublik, it feels like it's
slightly more measured, I feel.
And it's more like, I don't know, I feel like he still wants to win. Like, he just like
wants to win too.
He does, yeah. Well, he just
I wouldn't quantify it as that.
Yeah, I think it's the wrong phrase. You're right.
Yeah.
But it's just like Chapo, it's the worst. It's a level, it's just such a mess. But it's so scary because like if he strings it together, he can still beat anybody.
I know.
It's
terrible though.
Thiago Monteiro.
Manny.
That's the best one. Oh my god. That is amazing. That might be the best joke we've had on this pod. Like that, Manny, that was amazing. Like I literally almost went to the like I almost did a true ROFL. Like my face left the screen because I almost went for a true ROFL moment there. That was amazing.
Oh, okay. I mean,
Yoshi. All right,
oh,
keep going on.
everything
going.
we, realized about Montero, like we didn't learn much about him this clay court season. Like he's
We
everything
never
we thought
will.
he
Like
was.
everything about him is already known. Like
It is,
it's
right.
all been said.
Exactly.
Like
Just will battle, might win a match here or there.
has a good serve. He does actually have a really good first serve.
He does. He does. Good forehand.
Yeah.
Right. But nothing else. And like that match against Coric, like it's a match he should have won, but didn't because of his like just lack of luck.
I don't think he should have won. Like it was a close match.
Right.
He played a little better than Coric, but like in the second or third set, I don't know. Like did either guy come particularly close to breaking in the third set? I didn't think so.
So no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yoshi.
You go. I'm
Lays eggs.
Lays eggs. Okay.
But it's true, right?
Does he
Like
only lay eggs on the clay court, or does he also lay eggs?
you remember the Kachin match where he literally laid 2 eggs? That was a double egger.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what worked for Yoshi.
Yeah, at least he didn't lay 3 eggs.
But like he lost to Galan in a challenger recently.
Lays eggs.
Yeah. He is 2-8. 2-8 since the Australian Open.
Yeah, that's rough. It's rough.
Cecchinato.
Oof. I guess slightly gaining respect back is what I'm saying. That's kind of how I say it. Because I always thought that his odds were inflated from that 2018 win against Djokovic at the French Open. And like everyone has that memory in their mind. And I feel like books were giving him respect from a match that happened 5 years ago. And like now actually he's actually starting to play decent, like so he's starting to gain my respect back. But that being said, I'm very hesitant to back him betting, But
Andrew Murray.
Thinks he's better than he is right now.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you say that? I mean, he played a challenger. That's a pretty humbling. He won a challenger. It's a pretty humbling thing for a guy like Murray to do, who's got slam titles.
I think he's a little bit like I think he thinks his upside is higher than it really is what I'm getting at with him.
Okay.
I think he's a humble guy, and I think he just wants to play tennis, which is why he plays challengers. But I think like he expects more than what he's going to be able to get out of himself in this part of his career.
So I had a different word for it. I was going to say pure competitor because of that. Because like he expects to win every time he walks on the court.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a positive thing actually for him.
I think it's a positive thing.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I just think like his expectations are false. That's what I'm like getting at. I don't think like I'm not like saying it as a negative way, even though it might sound that way. I just think like he has false expectations of himself right now. That's it. And I think clay is like makes that worse, right? Like clay is
Yeah,
it's
I
bad.
agree. I mean, I want to see Murray get back on a faster surface where
Yeah.
like I think he has a better chance of being successful. Like I'm excited to see him on the grass, especially in Britain,
I
in his
agree.
home. Like I think he could make a decent run there.
Like he won that challenger, like which was a good run, especially, but like his wins weren't that great. Like he
But it's
beat
not the wins
Paul in
were
the
not great
final.
except for Tommy Paul in the final. And we already said Paul sucks on
Right.
clay.
But then he came out and lost to Wawrinka 11-4
Yeah,
next challenger. So like I'm not really weighing that challenger win that much.
yeah,
So
yeah. Neither am I. So like I know you. We're going to talk about. We talked about pre-pod. We did our kind of like what we want to talk about.
yeah.
I don't really think it's this. There's not much to talk about there because I just don't really.
Right.
I don't really care about Murray beating up a bunch of guys in the 100, between 100 and 200. I actually think he's the perfect guy to do that because he does come out and battle every match no matter what. Like,
Yeah.
look at that match against Kokonakis, right? Like
Right.
even when he was gassed, he's still like, he's just mentally tough.
Yeah. Who
That would
did
be
he
another
beat?
word for him is mentally tough.
Yeah. No, I agree
Um,
with that. Who did he beat in that challenger besides Tommy Paul?
Nobody interesting. Like, I don't even think anybody else was top 100.
Harold Mayo. Oh, Luca Van Asch. It's not a bad
Van Ash is an okay win.
Laurent
Like,
local.
Monfils, locally, Van Ash, some guy named Harold Mayo. That sounds like a guy who like plays his local tennis club. And then Tommy Paul.
Yeah.
I guess Mayo's actually a prospect. I didn't realize that, but yeah.
Yeah. All right, next guy.
We'll go to a couple of higher ranked guys who we haven't talked about yet, who weren't in the power rankings.
Okay.
Cam Norrie.
Struggling for confidence.
I was gonna say lost, but it's the same thing.
Yeah. Similar. I just think like he's desperately trying to find it, but he's not really able to. That's kind of what I'm seeing with him.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really tough for him because he doesn't really have like the traditional weapons, right? So like he has to be able to make a ton of balls. He has to be able to like play really smart tactically and have full confidence in like executing his tactics in
Yeah.
order to be successful.
Yeah.
FAA.
Overrated.
I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna go with absent instead of overrated.
Absent.
Yeah. Like he's hardly played this year on the clay, right?
He's playing in Lyon next week.
Which is weird because didn't he? I guess maybe he was injured. I don't really know, but like it's so hard to follow tennis injuries, man. There's no news on it, but like, yeah. So far, he played Madrid, and now this match in Rome, and that's been it. So hence my absent.
Absent.
But like,
original. I mean,
he was okay in Indian Wells. Actually, I would say more than okay. He was pretty. I mean, not. I mean, I'll go back to okay. And like he made a run in. He didn't make a run anywhere else. Semis of Doha. Quarters of Rotterdam. Like he's been like. I don't know if he's been like top 10 like his ranking is, but like
you know what? I have a better one for FAA. Bet his opponent plus the games.
yeah, that's the better phrase. Yeah,
that's the phrase.
Yeah, that's the phrase.
That's the phrase. Bet the underdog plus the games.
Yep. We didn't talk about him too much, but Wolf.
JJ Wolf. Nothing much to say.
I was going to say fat.
Okay, all right. That's probably a good word to describe it. Doesn't really help us in our betting, but
yeah.
well, what's your phrase to describe JJ Wolf?
I think slowly improving.
Slowly improving.
Yeah, like I think he's, like I've actually been impressed with Wolf. I think he's making a slow trajectory upwards. You know what I mean? And like he's like he's starting to win some matches on clay, starting to get a little more patient. Like I think he actually said in an interview I saw on Twitter that he's starting to get a little more patient. I don't remember where it was from, but like, I think there's starting to see some gains there. It's slow, but I think you're starting to see that improvement.
Okay.
I don't know what his upside really is. I don't know if his upside's much higher than like top 30, top 40, but he's starting to climb towards that.
You think he has more upside than Paul on clay? Long term?
No. Like if Paul learned how to play on clay, Paul should be better on clay than he is. I just don't think he moves
Yeah,
the surface.
Exactly. What about Shelton? Like, who do you think will end up being the better clay court player long term, Shelton or Wolf?
Shelton. I mean, like, I think the upside's just higher there. You know what I mean? Like, again, like, and you can hit through clay. Like, clay it's not necessarily bad to have power on clay.
No.
ARV.
Over 12.5 versus shitty opposition.
Yes. That was a softball and you hit it. Good job.
Nice.
I want to do one more. I got to think of who should the last guy be. I'm out of guys on my list, but I need a. Oh, I'll finish this one. Bublik.
Clown.
It took you forever to get there, but like also clown because like he's highly entertaining. Like I've really started to enjoy betting on it's the most brutal thing ever, but like betting on and watching Bublik matches is highly entertaining.
I know.
Because like everything is so random. Like he can lose a set 6-1 and it just does not matter.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for the wordplay segment. I guess what's next? So I think we finish off with our previews for the Rome semis, right?
Yeah.
And our betting there.
Yeah.
So first semi, I think it's first in terms of the day. Is the one on the top half of the bracket, which is Holger Rune versus Casper Ruud. The line, last I had seen it, was Rune minus 170 on the money line. I don't know if it stayed there, if it's moved. I'm going to look it up now.
I have to see. These are very, very interesting semifinals tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I think the second one's more interesting than the first, but I think they're both. We finally got a tournament where we got 4 guys who are worth watching in the semis.
Well, I feel like we got that in Monte Carlo with Rune and Sinner, and we got
Rublev and Fritz. Fair point.
That was good.
Fair point. No, that was good. That was worth watching.
Yeah, but like Madrid was terrible.
Yeah.
Let me share my screen here. So yeah, Rune is a 2-game favorite.
Wow, let's drop to minus 155. I mean, do you have a play here, Manny?
I have not placed any bets for tomorrow yet. I wanted to discuss with you before I did. Just looking at this, I'm leaning Rune minus 2.
Yeah. I mean, look. I don't hate it. I don't like. So actually, I listened to the Match Point 9 podcast.
Okay.
I don't see any argument you can make here for Ruud except the head to head, and I don't really care about the head to head because the only match that in my mind that's relevant there, and it's not even really that relevant, is the last one, the Roland Garros win.
Roland Garros
Like
one.
Rune is just he's improving, right? And like it makes sense that he would improve. He's a 20-year-old kid who just turned 20. He was
But
9. Like
he's improved at a pretty fast rate. And I feel like Ruud is a worse player than what he showed at the French Open last year.
way worse. Way worse.
Right. And Rune is better. And that match was highly competitive, and actually Rune could have won that. It's not like it's that far-fetched that like you never really got the feeling that Rune would win, but like he wasn't that.
I hear what you're saying. It was not a complete blowout. I agree.
Yeah. So
I mean, my play here, I put a bet down here. I've got 2 bets. I got Rune on the money line at minus 170, so it got a little bit worse from which sucks, but minus 170, minus 162, not a huge deal. My other play here is Rune 2-0, which when I saw it was at plus 150. It's probably now 155 or something.
I don't necessarily like the straight sets just because of how much Ruud loves these conditions.
Yeah.
Like
I hear that.
Ruud just plays well in Italy. You know, like he also played well in Turin, like last year at the ATP Finals. I don't know. I wouldn't bet straight sets here just because, like, also Rune, you know, it's not the strongest guy mentally. You know, like we talked about.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the only other concern, right? Like the only other narrative you can have here is that Rune is gonna get like frustrated, but like, I mean, I don't know, man. Like,
my favorite bet on this board, actually, just going through it, is Rune over 12.5.
I don't hate it.
Because Ruud loves these conditions. But that being said, I think Rune is the clear favorite here.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, it's like, I mean, you know my philosophy, which is like, if I see a money line that's like remotely hittable, that's usually where I go first.
It's you're laying too much juice 170. I'd rather try to find a slightly better line.
Yeah. I hear you.
And like I feel like this match is gonna like Rune is clearly the better player, but I feel like it's gonna get complicated at some point. You know, like the second set might get to like 4-all or something, and it's like I don't know.
I hear you, but then I look at like, and granted, it's only one match.
Mhm.
But like, you have like the Arnoldi match where he got beat up. He got beat badly by Arnoldi 3-4. Like Struff beat him. I don't know. Like, I don't know, man. I mean, Rudy, like if Rune is our second best player against the guy who we have like in the bottom half of our top 10, there we said like Rune is in the top 6. We said there's a massive gap after the top 6, and Rune is not in the top 6. And I don't see a matchup here that really plays towards Ruud. Like, how does Ruud win this match?
He plays like last year, and Rune also plays like last year.
But why would Rune play like last year? Like, I get it, like he could have a shit day, like that, but like,
Yeah.
there's no reason why Ruud, like, there's no reason to think Rune would regress. It would just be he has a bad day.
I mean, I do not like Ruud at plus 130 on the money line. Like, I think that's a terrible bet in this match.
Yeah.
I'm pro Rune here.
Yeah.
I just think like one set gets competitive and Ruud gets to 5 games. That's why I like the 12.5. And I don't like the straight sets just because of that that risk of a Rune lapse and like, you know, Ruud actually playing well. Like that's the thing. Like Ruud also had matches this clay court season where he beat Baez 2-love or 3-love, or was it 3-1?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he has upside, that's the thing which scares me about Casper Ruud. On the other hand, like I don't think he can necessarily get to that level, So that's why I
Yeah.
went 12.5 here. That's
I
definitely
think they all make sense, honestly. Like I think they all make sense. I think the Rune money line makes sense. Like I think the Rune minus 12.5 makes sense. And I think the Rune 2-0 makes sense. Like if you go with a 2-0, you're getting like plus 150.
That's true.
152.
I don't like this at all. Plus
No, I don't like that at all either.
What's the Rune 2-1 plus 2-9? No. Rune minus 1.5 sets plus 150.
Ruud 2-1 at 395. If you want to go pro Ruud at 2-1 at 395. I'm not going to do it because I don't like Ruud at all in this match. But I think that's the only way he wins this. Is if it gets to 3 sets.
Sets.
Yeah,
probably.
Like I like Ruud 2-1 way more than I like the Ruud money line.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Do you like any of these props?
There's just not much out on the board in terms of props. Like,
yeah.
And I think my answer is no. Like, I think my answer. There's been too many breaks here to like the 3 and 4 prop. The 6-3 or 6-4 prop. There's been too many breaks here to like that prop.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't see there being a whole ton of breaks here. I was hoping like a break that there'd be breaks props, but I haven't seen I don't see a whole lot of breaks here, but
what else did the match point 9 guys talk about? Because I didn't listen to the pod.
They didn't really talk for that long about it. Like it was really like didn't feel like, I mean, it was pretty much all pro Rune stuff.
Pro Rune.
Yeah. I mean, I just think like Rune's such a much better player. He's made so many leads, and especially on clay. Like his game actually I think plays better on this surface than anywhere else.
I agree.
I mean, again, like I guess there's like a little bit of an interesting rivalry here because these guys don't like each other very much.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of interesting. So like if the crowd feels one way or the other, and like again, like I guess that's the only that's the other advantage Ruud has, right? Is the mental gap.
He does have the mental gap, I guess, slightly, but I don't think Rune gets really bothered by it. It's just
I think he does, but like I don't think it's like
it's immature and petty. Plus, I feel like they've gotten over that. Like I feel like I think Ruud said in an interview that he like talked to Rune after that match.
Yeah, but he also said something like they're not gonna be on each other's Christmas card list or something.
No. That's clear. But yeah.
I mean, like, there's a potential for something extraneous, which always makes this a little scary. I mean, but man, like
I think -2 is pretty good. I think I'm gonna play that, and I'm gonna play the over 12.5.
I don't hate the -2 here in Rome.
Like I think it should be -2.5 or -3.
Yeah. I mean,
2 is pretty small.
yeah.
So I think I'm gonna hit the -2, and I'm gonna hit the over 12.5. That's
I think anything pro Rune is fine. Just pick your pro Rune line.
Okay. You're playing what, the money line? And then the straight sets?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is 100% the wrong way to do this, right? Like I might actually, you might have convinced me. I might I might
Say
take
lay the
my
games, take the sets.
what?
Didn't you say lay the games and take the sets?
I might change my mind. Lay games, take sets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 is really not that much.
No, 2's nothing. 2 is nothing.
Yeah.
On a clay court, it's nothing.
Nothing. So I'd rather take that than the money line.
Yeah.
Money
I'm
line.
not even gonna change my bet to that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lay the 2. That's the smarter move.
All right, Medvedev.
Second match is I think the better match. Medvedev Tsitsipas.
This is a fantastic match.
I'm really excited for this matchup.
Yeah.
Because it's also like the attacker versus the defender, right?
Yeah. Wow. It's a 2-game spread. Medvedev is plus 125. Tsitsipas is minus 150. The over-under is 23, which is quite high. How are you playing?
So I've got to play here. These guys have played a ton of tight sets. I don't see a lot of breaks here. So my thought is 2 thoughts. One, there's 2 bets I kind of like. So if you scroll down, go back up, the specials.
Okay.
How do you feel about match to go to a final set tiebreak at plus 900?
It's not enough for me.
Okay, interesting.
What are the percentage of matches that have gone to final set tiebreaks? I feel like there's only been like 1 or 2.
Here? You mean this year?
Yeah. None of the quarters did.
1 round of 32.
Okay.
Ruud over Bublik. And then Barrera over Kachinov. And Coric over Montero. So that's 3. 4, Maroszan over Lehechka. So 4. Gowan over Cachin, 5. Molkan over Napolitano, 6. Rusevoi over Humbert, 7. So 7 out of, with a few retirements, call it 95. So like, I don't know, like you need in order to break even.
More than I thought.
What?
It's more than I thought initially.
And like, you don't think these guys are good candidates to go to a final set tiebreak? At 9-1, right? Like you're getting really good odds on it.
It's not good enough for me. I'd need like 12 or 13-1 to hit that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I'm not necessarily convinced on it, but I'm thinking about it because like my thought is like I don't see a lot of breaks in this match. I don't know about you. Do you see a lot of breaks?
No, but I mean, like, it depends if you consider 3 to 5 breaks a lot. Like I
would say that's not a lot of breaks.
I'd see it in that vicinity, anywhere between like 4 and 6 breaks is my guess.
So you see multiple breaks per set?
I see like an average of 2 breaks a set.
Okay. That's more than I see. I'm probably thinking it'll be more like an average of like 1 to 1.5.
Well, what's the weather tomorrow?
It's cloudy, not great, like in the high 60s.
Okay, so it's going to be pretty slow.
Not sure how much I care. Like, because this is how I break down this match. When Medvedev's attacking, he can attack the Tsitsipas backhand, especially when he's serving, and get points that way. But then you flip it around, and the one thing Tsitsipas has done against Medvedev in the past year or two is start coming in, which is a real problem for Medvedev, especially on clay.
That's true. And he comes in a lot. Like he loves coming in.
Oh
But
yeah.
That's kind of turned the tide back in Tsitsipas's favor, actually. Like he's won the last 2 meetings,
Yeah.
albeit close, but by doing that a lot more.
Yeah.
I would not hit
No.
the final set to go to a tiebreak. Even though they played a lot of close sets, that's only happened once in their 11 meetings. So I would
Yeah, but you're getting 1 out of 10. You're getting 9-1.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I would need like since it's only happened once in 12 meetings, I'd need like 12 or
Yeah, I
13.
just don't know how much I care about those meetings that are like 5 years ago, you know?
Okay, fair.
And I don't know if that's even enough of a sample. It's close. I'm considering it. I probably won't hit it. I think you probably talked me out of it. But my other play here, which I really like, is I want to see your thoughts on this. The over 28.5 games at plus 225.
Ooh, interesting. I actually like that.
Because with how many close sets they play, I think you got a pretty good chance of this hitting if it goes 3. And the 3-set line is like 125 or 130, which I think is actually a pretty good
Right.
line. So, like, it's got to go 3, right? You're not winning it anywhere near half the time. But, like, you only have to win it 30% of the time. I don't know. I think if it goes 3, you're getting that to that. I think that's going to hit. Like, I don't see a whole lot of, like, if you look, I think they only had like 2 or 3 sets that weren't 1 break or closer in their 12 meetings.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be close sets.
And even on clay, when they played, and I think these guys are actually closer now than they were back in 21 on clay. That was 3 pretty close sets.
I mean, I think there's a good chance if it goes 3, you know, that you get there.
Who do you like to win this? Just like betting aside.
I mean, like Tsitsipas, but I don't like the money line here or the spread. I actually think it's perfectly set.
Yeah, but then if you get Tsitsipas to win in over 22.5 games, you get that plus 210.
It's so tough on the surface, though, man. Because like if you get like 4 and 5 or 6 and 3, you lose.
True.
That's why I like the 28.5 over, I think, here. And that might be my only play is like the extreme over on the games, because I do think it's going to be close sets. But I think Tsitsipas has the edge. But like if Medvedev can steal one, I think there might be value there.
I like over 12.5 for Tsitsipas too.
I like over 12.5 for
For both guys.
actually, yeah. Which is why I went then to the plus 225 on the
20.5.
yeah. But I don't know. Maybe I'm better off with the over on just going to over on both guys for the over 12.5.
Yeah. What's the over 1.5 tie breaks?
8.
800. Yeah.
It's the only play I have here is some sort of, and like the problem is this over 23 is too high to even be appetizing for me on a
Right.
clay court. Like, and this isn't like Isner and I don't know, like Gregor Barrera or something where I'm like, okay, it's just gonna be a bunch of aces. Like,
Right. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Medvedev because, like, so what do you make? Like, I was the one mainly discussing with Tidbits and Match.9 about the futures. Like, do you think there's value on him from a future standpoint for Roland Garros at 25-1? Like, what was your take on that whole?
I need to see him beat a top level player first.
So you agree with Tidbits?
Yeah, I mean, if you look, like the optics have not been great. And like, it's just, I'm also worried because like his interest level just isn't there sometimes. Like, I agree with you. I think it's more mental than physical, but like, there are times when his optics, like, you're not his optics, he just mentally doesn't show up. I mean,
I
again, I'm going to point to the first set of Zapata, which is like a dream matchup for Medvedev, and somehow he went down 5-love.
okay.
And he recovered quite easily because like he's just so much better than Zapata. But like, I don't know, man. Like,
Like I have no. So he was saying how like he power rates Sinner higher than Medvedev. Obviously, we did our power rankings. Medvedev is way above Sinner, right? And your
yeah,
power rankings, right? Just because of the physicality. Like that's the thing with Medvedev is like I think I like that value at I might need 28 or 30 to 1, but he has no question marks from a physical standpoint. Absolutely not.
no, you're absolutely right. The only, but there are massive question marks from like an interest standpoint, like literally an interest standpoint. Like if he's interested in winning the match.
But you take Nadal out of the equation because he's not there, right?
Yeah.
You take it's a struggling Djokovic. Say he's on the opposite side of Alcaraz, right? Like, I don't know. I see a realistic path for him. Plus, because of the lack of physical issues, tactically he's incredible. I feel like he's getting more comfortable on the surface. Like this match will say a lot to me, but like, say he wins this tomorrow and I still get 25 to 100, I'm pouncing on that.
Yeah, I
That's
agree.
me.
Well, I think I agree. I agree. Um, yeah, it's just tough when
Like to
you
me,
look at it like,
I'm almost like just talking about Medvedev, I'm almost tempted to take him at plus 125.
oh, I don't think so though. I don't think so. Like what makes you say that? Like I don't think so because like now I guess the narrative here, right, would be that he should be fired up for this match because this is another match between two guys who don't like each other.
Right.
So that was my so remember when we talked about this, we started this conversation about this match 2 days ago. I think you me and Tidbits, and I was like, yeah, Medvedev at some plus money would be great. There's just not much plus money here though. This line is like
It's not that much, yeah.
it's pretty close. I mean, I actually think they should be like. I think they're actually like underpricing Steph a little bit. Like I think they should be like -2 at -125 and like 105 for Medvedev, -105 at +2, but like it's not enough to actually play it. And like the same with the money line. I think the money line should be like 155 or 160, but like I can't like there's too much juice, right? I can't like turn around and play Medvedev
Yeah.
now because like 125 is terrible. So there's really like that's why my only play here is like the super over.
It's super over.
Or maybe the over 12.5 on either guy. Because like
Yeah, I see. I'm thinking about Medvedev, but then I'm also thinking about Tsitsipas. Like he's just so comfortable coming in. Like he's going to be able to come into net at will on a clay court. There are a lot of things that Tsitsipas can do to trouble Medvedev. And his movement is just so much more dynamic than like a Hanfmann, whereas like,
yeah,
Tsitsipas,
that's why I honestly think this is going to be a really good, interesting match, and I
yeah,
don't see a lot of breaks because if the server decides to attack, I think the attacker in this match has a huge advantage because Tsitsipas is good at the net, and Medvedev's going to want to play further back, which is a problem, right, for Medvedev. Like a big focus for Medvedev in this match has to be to hit as many balls from inside the baseline as possible.
yeah,
Obviously, it's not going to be that on his return because that's not how he plays tennis. But like, he has to get up to the baseline quickly and quickly establish himself in the rally. He can't end up back by the fence.
Yeah, and he's gonna have to hit his backhand more aggressively cross court to Tsitsipas's backhand. I think he's gonna get burned if he just starts rolling it in.
I agree.
That's gonna allow.
And he has to get returns.
Yeah.
And he has to hit good returns if he has any hope of breaking. Like not just returns in the court, but like good, solid, deep returns.
Yeah, I mean he returned
can get into the
well against Hanfmann.
What?
He returned exceptionally well.
Yeah.
And against Zverev.
But this is different because like so against Hanfmann, it was more about just like hitting decent, like deep returns. Whereas this, like, I think this is a different ballgame where like his returns have to be on like a level better in this matchup. Because Tsitsipas's attacking forehand is probably the best attacking forehand in the game.
Right.
It might not be the best pure forehand, but I think it's the best attacking forehand. Like, when he gets a mid-court or a short ball, the way he has so many things he can do with that forehand.
But also, it's not just what he does with the forehand; it's how he comes in and closes
behind it.
Right behind that.
Yeah,
it's just an attacking barrage.
And I think Tsitsipas can mix the serve and volley in here with how far back Medvedev stands.
Yeah,
like there's a lot on Tsitsipas's serve he can do, and then Medvedev, if he's serving decently well, he can attack the Tsitsipas backhand, and like if he just blitzes deep balls at the backhand, that's Medvedev's way to win. Like I think the plan of attack for both guys is pretty clear.
But the thing with Medvedev is like his forehand is not very. It's not like a Struff forehand where it's like penetrating. Right? It's a forehand that kind of
sits
a little bit, right? So it will allow, if he doesn't really direct it as well as he needs to, like that's gonna allow Tsitsipas to kind of run around it. That being said, I feel like Medvedev has a lot of tactical answers, like he's such a good tactical player. It's intriguing in so many ways, this matchup.
Yeah.
It really is. I think I'm gonna go with the Tsitsipas over 12.5. That's how I'm gonna play this match, I think. And I like your idea of the super over. I'm going to think about it a little more, but I like that.
Yeah. I don't think the over 12.5s either. I think those are the two ways to potentially play this.
Yeah.
It's just scary because like the over 12.5s, like I guess either guy could win in straights. Like Medvedev 2-0, like
yeah, but he can win in 2-0, but then does one of them get to 5 games?
Well, but you're gonna hit both guys over 12.5 or just Tsitsipas?
I might hit both.
So if you hit both, that's a little more interesting. Yeah, I mean, or not more interesting, but like if you hit both, then you're a little more protected. But then but then in order for you to get both wins, you basically need the super over.
Right. So I'm a little bit more confident that Tsitsipas will get there. So I think I'm going to hit the Tsitsipas over 12.5 and the super over.
Okay. Interesting.
But I like that super overplay. That was an interesting take.
Yeah, it's not a play I like a lot, but I think this is an interesting time for it.
Did you listen to what Match Point 9 had to say about this matchup?
I did. Their biggest takeaway, they like the idea of going Tsitsipas 2-0 or Medvedev 2-1. They thought that Medvedev has a mental edge here. I don't agree. I don't think they're really. Tsitsipas is pretty mentally tough. I don't think there's much of a mental edge here. And Tsitsipas has won the last 2. They both have wins against each other in the head-to-head. So like, I don't think there's much of a mental edge either way here.
Yeah, I agree with you.
They thought the money line was pretty well set. I tended to agree. Like I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. I don't really like either guy in straight sets here.
The amazing thing, I think this match is way closer than Ruud, and yet the money lines are pretty similar.
Yeah. Yeah, the game spreads are exactly the same.
Yeah.
So,
which I guess is to the Ruud -2.
Well,
I think that's it. I think we're
futures value here, like for an outright? I actually think it's pretty well set, isn't it?
No, I don't think I like any of these.
I don't like them either.
Yeah, I mean, like I definitely don't like Ruud.
Yeah.
Tsitsipas, no. Medvedev, no. Because like Rune is closest, I think. Like if Rune was like plus 250, I'd like it. But or maybe I don't need plus 250. If Rune was like plus 220 or plus 225, I think I'd start to get a lot more interested. I don't think either guys are close. Because like the problem is I think Tsitsipas and Medvedev are probably underdogs in the final. It's probably close. Rune Tsitsipas is probably close to a coin flip. I think Medvedev's an underdog versus Rune in the final, especially that Rune just crushed him on a slow court.
Right, in Monte Carlo. I agree with
So I don't see how Medvedev should be anywhere near 325. That's terrible. Ruud is by far the worst player in this group right now, so I don't see why he's anywhere near 400. So then it's either Rune or Tsitsipas, and like I think the problem is like Tsitsipas is two matches that are pretty close to coin flips. So when you see like 250 on Tsitsipas and then Rune is pretty close, but I don't think 170 is good enough. He's got to win two matches, and like they're not guaranteed.
I agree. Yeah, I don't like any of this here. I'm just gonna play each match separately.
I mean, the only thing is like, yeah.
And how about the Bordeaux final between Etcheverry and Humbert?
Oh, I don't know, dude. I haven't really I don't know enough of this tournament. I haven't watched enough to really have an educated opinion. Like off the cuff, I say Etch, but I don't know enough about this particular tournament. So
I'm playing Humbert here. I thought he was exceptionally impressive against Gasquet today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not playing it because, like I said, I'm not intelligent enough on this matchup. Or I'm not intelligent on this tournament. Like, I don't know, what is the weather, what is the altitude, all that kind of stuff. So
right. Humbert, if you look at his results,
he's been pretty good. I agree with you.
He's been pretty good, and
I agree with you.
He's been pretty mentally tough as well.
Yeah.
He's played that challenger that he played a couple weeks ago.
He played a 3.5 hour match, didn't he? And then another
4-hour match, and then he came back and won the event. Yeah. So, and this is in France. He's going to get the home crowd. He destroyed Gasquet today. So I like him at slight plus money. I think I got him at plus 110 or 115.
Okay.
It's moved a little bit in his favor. But I'm on his side here. So
all right. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not hitting because I'm not educated enough on it, but
right.
All right. Well, I think that's it. I think that was a long pod. That was a massive pod between the two segments. Hopefully people enjoy it. Again, shout out to everybody who's a new follower, any new listeners. Really excited to have you. Please give us you can subscribe,
any feedback is much appreciated, positive or negative. We're always learn and get better.
Feel free to chat with us on the Twitter, even if you don't watch the pod. We love chatting on the Twitter as well. PM us, DM us.
Yes.
Don't send us any pictures. We don't need pictures unless they're tennis related. That's all I ask. That's it.
All right. Sounds good. So
thanks, guys.
Our pod schedule. What's coming up? So
probably Sunday night, maybe to preview Geneva and Lyon.
Yep. And then we'll be back late next week, Thursday or Friday, to do the massive Roland Garros preview.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
All right, sweet. Have a good night.
Over and out, boys.